So we are going to watch this Ben video about the Oscars. I have not watched Ben's video yet, so I don't know if he's going to cover movies I haven't seen. Because of the Best Picture ones, I've only seen two of them. I've only seen All Quiet and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've got Triangle of Sadness, Banshees of Inisherin, and Tar all on my to-watch list. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. I'll probably watch The Fabelmans at some point as well. But I have no interest in Way of Water. I have no interest in Top Gun. I have no interest in Elvis, and I'm not really ever in the mood for movies that are paced the way Women Talking is apparently paced. So I can't really speak on those other movies other than to say that I've only heard good things about Tar, Banshees, and Triangle of Sadness. I've only heard good things about them. So, the only negative thing I've heard about Tar is that it's really slow. But that's not always a negative. People have when I've heard people say that, they usually say it in a negative way. It was so slow, because I know it opens with like a 15-minute interview that doesn't have a lot of cuts in it or something like that. It's insane. Tar is such a long movie. I think it's 2.5 hours. Still shorter than John Wick 4, which Max and I went and saw last night. Max and I went and saw John Wick 4 last night. It was so fucking long. Jesus Christ. It was insanely long. Oh, really? It didn't follow the true story that much? Ah, okay. Like I said, I didn't know Women Talking existed until I watched a actress roundtable that had a bunch of the women from these movies in the roundtable. So I hadn't really heard about Women Talking until I think it was not the director, but one of the actresses from Women Talking was at the table. Who was it? Claire Foy, I think, was at the table. She was talking about it. I have seen All Quiet on the Western Front, like I said, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, of course. I've seen Everything Everywhere like 4 times at this point. Still not enough times, in my opinion, but... and I've seen All Quiet the one time. Having watched it, I don't think it deserved Best Score, if I'm being honest with you, because it's very much just a war movie score. There's nothing special about it. Let's see, is this with the exception of, I think this one. With the exception of that note there, I can't, with the exception of this specific score, which they play throughout the movie, the specific song, I should say, the overall score of the movie isn't unique, in my opinion. It was a good movie. I very much enjoyed the way it was structured. I liked the way they showed the monotony and the waste of life that so often happens in wars, especially in World War I with No Man's Land, which is why the name of that song was ironic, because I was thinking about this while I was on the little 5-minute break. And with the exception of the little jump scare, as I've heard people describe it in this specific song, none of them felt unique. All of the other soundtracks sounded like every other war soundtrack you've heard. Which is why I'm kind of confused as to why it won Best Score, whereas Everything Everywhere's score is unique. It's got very unique sounds in it. It's got a lot of homages in it. It takes certain songs and sort of spins them on their head, like certain existing songs, like Claire de Lune, for example, and uses them as themes throughout the movie, as well as inventing a whole bunch of new stuff. Of course, I don't remember what other ones were up for Best Score, so I can't speak on any of those anyways, because I haven't seen them. But I was like, oh, the score in this movie must be great. It won the Oscar for it. And with the exception of this one, it all just sounded like your average war movie, which I was a little disappointed in. But, But at the same time, there's only so many ways you can portray war, because war is war. It doesn't really vary all that much. War is pointless and stupid, and that's kind of the takeaway you're supposed to take away from this movie, is that war is dumb and unnecessary, and the people who declare the wars are never the people who are fighting the wars. It's just the people of whatever country has declared war that are losing their lives for no real reason. And I really liked that message in this movie. I've watched a lot of World War II movies. There's not that many World War I movies out there in comparison, obviously, because people love to watch Nazis die, because obviously. which we saw a trailer for a movie by the John Wick director that involves the murdering of Nazis, which looks like a lot of fun that I look forward to seeing. And so I liked the overall takeaway of this movie, and the way they show how like laborious it is. For example, this isn't really a spoiler because it's in the opening. It opens following not this guy who you see on screen, who is the main character, but just some dude running around the battlefield, and we watch him die, and then we follow his clothing from then on. We follow his body and his clothes, because they would recycle the clothes after they would take them off the dead bodies, patch up the bullet holes or whatever if it was salvageable, deep clean it, and then send it back to the place where people would sign up and get their uniforms. And so we kind of follow, and then he ends up getting that guy's uniform, and then we follow him throughout his journey. And I really liked the showing of that, and the way that it sort of ends up. It's a very smart way, I think, of showing that how war works for the people who are actually on the ground, especially this war, especially the trenches, especially no man's land, and how pointless and repetitive it is. That was I'd never seen a war movie sort of do that in that way, so I like that. But the score really wasn't unique, in my opinion. It's very much an anti-war movie, which I appreciate. So now there was one part in the movie where I felt they could have used this score and it would have worked really well, like this specific piece of music, and they didn't. But I'm not a music expert, so I don't know if that's electronic or whatever it is, but that da 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 is very, like, it really resonates with you. I feel like seeing it in theaters, it would really, I know it was a Netflix movie, so I don't know if it ever went to theaters, but I feel like it's one of those that it's supposed to sort of rattle your bones when you hear it, which if you were watching it in a big old theater, it absolutely would. So with the exception of this song, I didn't notice anything special about this soundtrack, but good for them. They won an Oscar. Good for them. Already watched. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get around to watching Tar, Triangle of Sadness, and The Banshees of Inisherin. I don't know when I'm going to get around to those. I'll probably watch Triangle of Sadness next, just because it seems more like, not like fun, but like upbeat, whereas Banshees and Tar are both like slower paced from what I've heard, whereas Triangle of Sadness is far more like, not upbeat or fast paced, but it's just more, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's got more going on, if that makes any sense. Whereas Banshees of Inisherin is a lot of talking and walking and talking and walking, and Tar is a lot of talking and talking and talking and talking. I have absolutely no interest in Elvis whatsoever. I've never cared about Elvis as a musician. I've never really enjoyed his music. My grandmother, my dad's mom, obsessed. She's obsessed with Elvis, but I've never understood it personally. So, and then the movie itself, I don't know. The musical biopics don't always appeal to me. I liked the Freddie Mercury one, and I liked the what is it? What's his name? And the Elton John one. I liked both of those, which are the two I think that have come out the most recently. Yeah. What's the... I want to talk about the director. Never saw them, saw a few clips. Fuck off with your ads. Not Deadpool, not previous, not stunts. I want, worst director. There we go. Yes, he's gonna be directing the Ghost of Tsushima movie. That's not gonna come out for like 3 years, but I'm so psyched for that shit. Um, let's see. It's not listed here. Should be in post production by now. Weird. They get progressively longer, so prep yourself for that. The first one's like an hour 40, and chapter 4 is 2 hours and 40 minutes, closer to 2 hours and 50 minutes. So they gradually get longer, each one of them. They're all a lot of fun though. It's in post production. What was it called? I don't remember. I don't know why it's not listed here. That's really bizarre. I don't think it's supposed to be that. I don't think it's this one. I don't think it's Shibumi. I don't think it's Shibumi. No, it's not this. It was like 4 letters. No, it's not this. Fuck, what is it called? It was like one of the... There were actually several trailers before John Wick 4 that I was like, ooh, that looks good. Do they need to be longer? Yeah. I would say 2 absolutely deserves to be longer. Because in chapter 2 it sort of sets up the whole like assassin underground a bit more in depth wise than John Wick 1 does. It has a lot more world building to do. Each one has more world building to do, to be completely honest with you. I don't think chapter 4 needed to be nearly 3 hours long. I think they could have made it a tight 2.5 or 2 to 2.5. I think they could have managed that. There were some lingering shots that I felt didn't need to linger, and that felt like very time stretchy, but that didn't happen too terribly often throughout the movie. It was mostly like right at the beginning that it really stretched some of the shots out, in a way that I didn't feel was necessary. But chapter 4 is, if it's got a lot of action, it's probably like 70% action, 30% talking. And all of the action sequences are fantastically done, obviously. So I feel like if the fight sequences hadn't been as plentiful and as fun as they were, I feel like it would have felt even longer. But we were like an hour into the movie, and I leaned over to Max and I said, we're only an hour into this movie. And Max looked at their watch and went, shit. Because it's like you feel like you've been sitting there a while because so much has happened already. Like so much action has already occurred in that first hour that it feels like you've been watching for a lot longer, and you haven't. And it's like, oh my god, how much more is there? And there's a lot. There's always a lot more. Speaking of Fitbits or watches, I gotta go plug my watch up. Ugh, I meant to do that while I was up on my break. I did enjoy it though. I don't think it's one I'll rewatch anytime soon just because it's so long. I rewatched the first John Wick movie the other night. We wanted to rewatch Parabellum before going to see chapter 4 just to sort of refresh us on where we left off. But it's like 2.5 hours long. It's like 220 something, I think. Yeah, Parabellum is 211. Yeah, 136, 22, 211, 249. So we weren't going to have time to watch the 2-hour movie and then make it to the theater to see what would end up being over 3 hours long with like before credits and things like that, previews and shit. Sisu. It's called Sisu. Fucking hell. What's going on? Sisu. This movie looks fucking fabulous. It was great. We had so many R-rated trailers before John Wick, before the movie started, because we had the trailer for this, and then we had the new Evil Dead movie that's coming out soon, Evil Dead Rise, which also looked good. I mean, it looked like your average horror movie. It didn't look like anything special, but it looked well done. And both of them were R-rated trailers where you get the red screen instead of the green one beforehand that gives you the rating, because they're very bloody and they're very gory. So but Sisu looks incredible. It looks fun. It looks enjoyable and also incredibly violent, and gory, but in the best way, because the people who are being murdered are Nazis, and we love to watch that. We love to see Nazis dying. And it's going to be directed. Is what it said in the trailer. Is it's directed by the guy who directed, fucking John Wick. So, I don't remember Amanda talking about Sisu, though. If it aired at TIFF, she would have seen it. Probably, because she usually goes and sees all of the movies whenever she's at, like, all the ones she's able to see when she's at the, what's it called? Sorry, my brain's not working. Amanda the Jedi on YouTube is often invited to a lot of the, film circuit, the like South by Southwest and TIFF and Sundance and film festivals. That's the word. There we go. She usually goes to TIFF and Sundance. I think she's gone to South by a couple times as well, but she pretty much goes to Sundance and TIFF every year. But I don't remember her mentioning Sisu. And her, she usually will do a quick rundown of her thoughts after each movie at the festival, and I don't remember her mentioning this one. She said she did not enjoy Evil Dead Rise. Now, I don't know if that's because she's a fan of Evil Dead and this wasn't like nice to the Evil Dead franchise, like it didn't like do a good homage to the original Evil Dead. I don't know. I don't give a fuck about the Evil Dead movies. I've never seen them, so I won't have that, because I watched her Scream 6 video last night, and she said she liked it more than Scream 5, but she absolutely hates Scream 5, because she said Scream 1 and 4 are two of her favorite movies, period, not just favorite horror, but favorite, period. So 5 very much spat on those movies, and so she hates 5, so 6 was bound to be better received by her, but she mentioned that she'd rather watch 6 over and over again than watch Evil Dead Rise one more time, which I thought was funny. I still want to see it. I don't know if it's one of those ones I'll pay $30 to go see it in theaters. When does it come out? I think it comes out soon. But Sisu will be one I see in theaters. April. Okay, cool. That's before the move. Yeah, we might go see that in theaters. Fuck. I think Sisu comes out. Yeah, also April. We will be seeing Sisu in theaters. Absolutely, without a doubt. After the trailer ended, Max and I both looked over at each other and said, "We're going to see that in theaters, aren't we?" And we were both like, "Yeah." So highly recommend this trailer. Both trailers, to be honest, if you like horror films like this, like possession movies. The book is like the book from Evil Dead and all that. So, yeah, we don't move till May, and they both come out in April, so Yeah, look forward to that. You sent me this. Published March 27th, so that's as of today. We'd love to see it. Murder/suicides incidents. Is that murder-suicides or murders and suicides? Murder-suicide. Hey, it went down in 2022 compared to 2021. Not by a lot, though. Yeah, gun violence is the #1 killer of children now. I don't know if it's teens or if it's children, but I know it's like the #1 killer now, surpassing car accidents recently. So that's fun. Yeah. But this is just for this year so far. We've already had 10,000 gun violence deaths, almost. And it's March. It's fucking March, dude. And this map is only up till March 9th, so these numbers are till today. And these are just the deaths. This isn't all gun violence. This is just the ones where people die. So if this is the ones where people die, think about how much gun violence there is where people don't die. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. Some of these aren't including the injured. I don't know if that's added into the total because this says gun violence deaths. So that would not include the injured. Obviously, the teens are going to be a little bit higher than the children because teens are more often involved in gangs than obviously children at 11 are. And they're more likely to get in the crossfire of stuff like that. And obviously, ages like 0 to like 7, you'd hope, aren't actively touching guns, though that does happen here and there. Mass murders, mass shootings. Difference? What's the difference? Oh. Yay, yay, yes, that was today. Wait, that was today? Hold on. Oh, yeah. It was at a school. Yeah, yes, woo. Seven minutes ago. Holy shit. That's brand new. Armed woman kills 6 in Nashville school. Holy shit. This just happened. Although this is the New York Times, so it's going to ask me to give them money. Female assailant was a former student. A female mass shooter? Now that's something you don't see very often. No, I didn't know. Yep, 4 mass shooters have been female since 1966. Up to March 2021. Nice. Yeah. That's why I was like, whoa, because it's like never women. It's never, like, women don't go mass shoot people. That's just not a thing. Well, we love to see it. Many reasons to not leave the house. 6 victims, 3 children, 3 adults. Shooter was killed by police officers, which is why it's listed as 7 dead, because the shooter was also killed. Wow. So it doesn't dox me by accident. How far is this from where I live? Oh. That's nearby. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, I don't know why it said my location was over there when it's 22 minutes away at a minimum. Oh, that's if you cut straight through. Why is it giving me walking? That's not even accurate. Reload. There we go. Okay, it's more in South Nashville, whereas we're more in West Nashville. It was saying I was 5 minutes away, and I was like, refresh? That's not correct. The Green Hills Mall, we were just over there last night. That's where we went to see the movie, was in Green Hills. And it's in Green Hills, which is where the shooting was. Yeah. Well, we love to see it. We love to see it. I feel like my reaction to this is very... I feel like I was just more surprised that it just happened today. We love to see it. We do. We love to see it. And we love to have nothing done about it. They want to pass bill after bill after bill banning fucking trans people and people in drag, but they won't do a goddamn thing to help keep people from murdering kids with guns, so... Because that's where our priorities are for some fucking reason. Alright. We do. We love to see it. Max and I were talking about this the other day, about the way Gen Z is, like, especially younger Gen Z than us, whereas Max and I are fairly old in terms of Gen Z. You included in that, Jimmy, since we are some of the oldest Gen Zs. I think the oldest Gen Zs right now are 25, 26, so we're pretty far up there in terms of elder Gen Z. But like younger Gen Z, the way they talk and the way they talk about things, because so much of Gen Z has just this apathy to life. Yeah, 25, yeah, so you're up there as well with us. In the Gen Z, yeah, we are the Zillennials, as people like to call the elder Gen Z, Zillennials, and Max, we were talking about it and how, like, because Gen Z is one of those generations where their first reaction is to go, well, guess I'll kill myself, you know, like, because we're just so apathetic to life in general, because everything seems so hopeless right now, between all of the mass shootings and the economic crash and the banning of books in schools and the banning of drag queens, the banning of trans rights, the banning of this, the banning of that, all of these things that are happening. Everything feels very hopeless for Gen Z, especially because so much of Gen Z has done school in COVID times. And we talked about how Gen Alpha will never have a snow day because on days where they're snowed in, they'll just have online school, and things like that. But because of the way Gen Z acts and behaves, I feel like being a therapist for a Gen Z would be really difficult, having to learn the difference, especially because like a lot of therapists are not necessarily older, but they're millennials at the very least, if not Gen X, or elder millennials, which are in their 30s, their mid 30s at this point. Listening to a Gen Z go, well, guess I'll go kill myself now, and trying to decide whether or not that's legitimately like a suicidal ideation or if it's just Gen Z being Gen Z, you know what I mean? Like that, like distinction, you know? But I feel like Gen Z also will be better at being like, oh no, I don't actually want to die. Like I'm just saying, you know, and or being like, oh no, I actually would like to very much die, you know? Because there's a viral TikTok a TikTok that was going around that people were stitching where it was like, what would you do if you knew that you would not wake up after going to bed tonight? And so much of Gen Z is just like diving into bed, like trying to get to sleep and stuff like that. And it really made me think about, because Gen Z also is the biggest generation to be going to therapy and things like that, and unpacking all of their shit, you know. And so how do you decide, oh, this is a genuine I want to die versus a not genuine I want to die as a therapist? No, TikTok doesn't make me want to die. TikTok is one of the few things that keeps me alive. It was just like one of those memes of like, well, what would you do if today was your last day, you know? And which is a very common like thought experiment that goes around, you know. And Gen Z was obviously memeing the fuck out of it because that's what we do as a generation. We meme the fuck out of everything because we have to. And I don't know, I just thought that was a fun little thing to think about how do you decide? Does my Gen Z client actually want to kill themselves, or are they joking? How do I tell, you know? Because, like, me as a person, if I knew I was going to die in my sleep when I go to bed tonight, I don't know that I would care. But at the same time, I don't hope to die in my sleep, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hope to die anytime soon. But if I knew I was gonna, I wouldn't necessarily be upset about it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, especially after this week, once I've got my name legally changed, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I want to die, you know, but it's like well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Like, I don't have control over that. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I mean, if that's what's going to happen, I don't really have any control over that, you know? I would like to wake up tomorrow and continue my life, but, you know, yeah, you know, I think that's just because of the state of the world at the moment, because so much of what's going on is not within our power to stop. And death is never within our power to stop, per se. If you're meant to die, you're meant to die. You know what I mean? Like, we've got medications and stuff, but, like, if you're diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, not much you can really do about it at that point. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those, well, I guess I'm gonna die then. Let's just live life to the fullest until that eventually happens. So, and I wonder what it's like to be the younger Gen Z group, because I finished my schooling in COVID. Like, I believe it was our junior year was the year that kind of got fucked the hardest by COVID. Meanwhile, you've got kids who are starting high school or starting middle school or starting school period that had to start it in the year of COVID. And that just, it sucked in general, but at least I was at the end of school. Like, I already knew how to do school. And we'd already done some online classes before that. But never in like a Zoom way, but in like you don't actually see a teacher necessarily. Like summer courses and stuff. So I can't imagine having to try to figure out how to do high school or college in your freshman year and have it be done during COVID. That just seems like it would suck ass. So I really feel for the younger parts of my generation, because life's already hard enough as it is, and they're going through what is often considered to be some of the worst parts of your life, which is middle and high school, while also doing it during COVID and all this other shit that's going on. And especially if in like places like Florida where they're banning every other book just cause and things like that. I saw an article yesterday where someone was like arguing for the banning of the Bible from schools, like from like the library and stuff, because it's very violent, and they've been banning a bunch of other stuff that's for violent reasons, but they won't ban the Bible, despite the fact that the Bible is far more violent than a lot of the other books that they had banned. For the reason being cited of being it's super violent and gory and stuff like that. And the Republicans were like, oh, no, not the Bible. And it's like, okay, so you can only ban the books you don't like, not based on the standard you've set of it's too violent for this age group, so we're going to take it out of this age group's library, you know. Go away, pop-ups. And I was just like, genius. I mean, if they're going to take away our books, the least we can do is get rid of their fucking books. You know what I mean? It's just really dumb. I'm glad I'm not in school anymore, because it's a fucking war zone right now. In some ways, literally. I mean, we literally just had a mass shooting here out of school. So we love to see that. Just our normal day-to-day lives. We love to see it. I wonder what generation is deciding to ban books. I mean, whatever generation Ron DeSantis is part of. I assume Gen X. How old is Ron? He's 44. So yeah, that would put him in Gen X, I believe. How old is Gen X? 43 to 58, yeah. He's a baby Gen X. Wow, millennials are in their 40s? Old motherfuckers. Gen Alpha is already 10 years old, which is weird. The same year the iPad was born, Lamau. Yep, the generation that's turning teenagers this year. How old is Zoomers? Getting old. We're getting old, guys. We're getting old. But let's watch this bin video. Now, like I said, I don't know if he talks about the other Best Picture nominated movies. I just know he talks about Everything Everywhere. And that his audience disagrees with him on it. Like, all of these comments under his video are shitting on him, which is lovely. We'll read those after. No, not full screen, sorry. So, I don't know if he's going to spoil any of these movies or not, so I guess spoiler warning for Everything Everywhere, All Quiet on the Western Front, Top Gun Maverick, Women Talking, Banshees of Inisherin, Triangle of Sadness, Fabelmans, Avatar 2, Elvis, and Tar. Just a warning, I guess, if you give a shit. But at this point, if you've not seen them, I don't think you give a shit. So
Oscars, nobody watches the Best Picture movies 5 years out. Nobody.
That's not true. Well, I don't know why it started 2 seconds in, but here we are. Let me turn up the volume.
Well, folks, the Oscars were Sunday night, and nobody watched them. But here's the
I watched them.
The Oscars. Nobody watches the Best Picture movies 5 years out. Nobody.
Someone down here actually made a note on that. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, that I've rewatched Parasite 4 times because the Oscars do nominate good movies occasionally, and also movies should not be judged based on how much they get rewatched. Also, I would rather rewatch any of these Best Picture films than rewatch Run, Hide, Fight, or especially Terror on the Prairie, which are movies produced by The Daily Wire. Because Mr. Benjamin here is a failed screenwriter, and he's very sad about that. And therefore has to go trash on good films. Parasite absolutely deserved all of the awards it got. That movie is fucking phenomenal, and it's on my rewatch list right now. And it's so fucking good. Moonlight was fantastic. I can't remember which other ones won Best Picture. Best Picture winners. I've watched Everything Everywhere several times. Oh, right, Coda. I remember. I never saw Coda or Nomadland. I heard a lot of good things about Coda, though. People were mad that Green Book won. Everyone watched Shape of Water at the time. I just watched 12 Years a Slave the other night. It was fucking fabulous. King's Speech, I've only ever have heard good things about it. It's on my to-watch list as well. I didn't realize Argo... I remember Argo winning. Slumdog Millionaire, we watched that in school so much growing up. Everyone who's ever been to film school has watched No Country for Old Men, whether they want to or not. Lord of the fucking Rings won Best Fucking Picture. What are you talking about? Chicago, A Beautiful Mind, Gladiator, American Beauty, Shakespeare in Love. Now, I know we're getting into the 90s here, so all of these are ones everyone's heard of. Schindler's List, Braveheart, Forrest Gump, Silence of the Lambs, Dances with Wolves, Driving Miss Daisy. We've all heard of all those movies because they're classics. So, the 90s movies are classics, so everyone's heard of those. Schindler's List is a fucking phenomenally sad movie. Forrest Gump, I've watched the movie so many times throughout my life. It's like required viewing if you're going to be an American. I don't think I've seen Braveheart in full before, but I've seen bits and pieces of it throughout the years. Obviously, I've seen Titanic. I don't think I've seen A Beautiful Mind. I have seen Chicago. I've heard of $1 Million Baby, never seen it though. I don't think I've heard of Crash. No, I have heard of it. I've never seen it though. I've never seen The Departed, though I've heard about it. I've obviously seen No Country more times than I would have liked. I've seen Slumdog Millionaire a whole bunch of times. Like, literally, this was like the go-to movie they would put on if we didn't have anything to do that day in school. So I've seen Slumdog Millionaire like 6 or 7 times. It's a fucking phenomenal film, though, so I'm not really complaining, to be honest with you. Very good movie if you've not seen it somehow. Highly recommend. King's Speech, I think that's on my watch list. Nice. Let me see. Is King's Speech on there? Because I love that actor. No, it's not on here. Well, guess we're adding it. King's Speech. Not Speed. Speech. There we go. I think Argo's on my watch list on my site. So. Oh, I've got so many lists. I watch something. I pick something off the list that I'm in the mood for. So like I've got my TV list, my anime list, and my movies list, and whatever I'm in the mood for, I'll watch, or I'll start watching. Lately, though, it's been really hard to decide what I want to watch. Like last night, I was like, I don't know what I want to watch. I was exhausted, so I took a nap last night. I took like a 3-hour nap last night. And then I watched a bunch of YouTube stuff. I've been getting stuff off my YouTube watch later lately. I watched Moonlight for school. I watched it. I don't think it was was it for a class? It might have been for a class. So I've seen Moonlight. I have no desire to see Shape of Water or Green Book. I've seen Parasite. And I've watched Everything Everywhere several times as well. What's interesting to me is that so few of these movies have such low ratings on here. Only an 8.5 for Parasite? Are you fucking joking? Are you kidding me? Only an 8 for Slumdog Millionaire? That seems a little ridiculous to me. So Ben's already wrong and we're 7 seconds in. So what's new?
Oh, there are so many things that I hate today. So I discussed yesterday the Oscars and the fact that Everything Everywhere All at Once, All the Time, Forever, in all eternity, in the multiverse, that movie won Best Picture. And I said I was kind of Luke cold on that particular picture. And one of the points I made online, it's drawn an awful lot of flack, is I said in 5 years, no one will watch that film. And
Wrong.
So that's a prediction. I will not delete that prediction because I think that prediction is...
My prediction is that movie will enter the zeitgeist of film school because, as I've said before, and will continue to say forever, it is the perfect movie to show people, to show them, especially independent filmmakers, which is what every film school attendee is while they are in film school, is an independent filmmaker, is a movie like that because it is a relatively low budget, all things considered, especially for the movie that it is, especially trying to tell the story that it's telling. A $15 million budget is fucking tiny. It's a $25 million is what you'll see when you look it up. $10 million of that was for advertising, because advertising is fucking expensive. So shooting a movie with this many big names in it, with this type of plot and coverage for $15 million is super fucking cheap. And incredible what they pulled off. It was very much a skeleton crew, especially when it came to post-production, which is all you're going to get as an independent filmmaker, especially as a film student. And I think there's so much in the movie, so many different through lines, so many different things you can find on rewatch and things like that, but also from a storytelling standpoint, from a directing standpoint, from an action standpoint, like you can teach using this movie. And I hope, as not just a fan of this movie, but as someone with a film degree, as someone who watched a lot of movies they didn't want to watch and that I thought were really shitty in film school, and mostly because they were ancient films that aren't relevant anymore, that we were shown because they were like revolutionary for the time, I hope that some of those movies are replaced with this movie, because this movie is a perfect example of how to do all the things they tell you should do in film school all at once. Everything from fucking title cards to Photoshop to how to spend your budget to how to direct to action sequences, like everything you can learn about movies, you can pull an example from this movie for. So I know Ben wouldn't know that. He's never been to film school, to my knowledge. He's got a degree in law, so he wouldn't know shit about film school. Harvard Law School, yeah. Political Science and Harvard Law School. Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. Yeah. So he's never been to film school, so he wouldn't know what that entails. And this is the perfect movie for that, in my wholehearted opinion. They showed us so many movies to show us so many things, and they could just show us this one, and we could break it down by either section, so parts 1, 2, and 3. We could break it down by themes. We could break it down by score. We could break it down by action. We could break it down by acting. Like, every fucking part of this movie does what they tell you you're supposed to do in movies in film school. And I can't stress that enough, which is why I will be so fucking repetitive about it every time I talk about this fucking movie, because it's true. And every film student I've ever talked to who watched this movie is in love with it because it's everything they hope that they can make one day. It's weird, it's stupid, it's funny, it's heartfelt, it's action is fantastic. It's everything that all of the people I knew, especially in film school, wanted to make these kinds of movies. And the only thing this movie doesn't have is horror, and even then it's got a couple horror shots in it, especially with the portions with Jamie Lee Curtis where she's the sumo wrestler strongman portion. So it's even got a little bit of a horror sprinkle in there, even though that's really not its main genre. And so, of course, for all those reasons, Ben wouldn't like it because he doesn't understand how movies work. So I'm not really surprised, if I'm being honest with you.
It's true. In 5 years hence, we'll look at the numbers and we'll see how many people are still watching Everything Everywhere All at Once forever for all time.
I mean, 'cause also, even if not as many people watch it in 5 years, how many movies are coming out now? Like, how much digital media? Like, Marvel alone put out like 40 different projects this past year. So, of course, there's going to be less people rewatching movies that are several years old, regardless of how much they love them, because there's always more movies to watch. There's always new shows to watch. There's always new stuff to go see in the theater. The Daniels hopefully will put out a couple more movies in the next 5 years that will be fantastic, you know? So even if they aren't rewatching this movie in 5 years, there's probably a good reason for that, and that's because they're busy watching 800 other things, or they're busy working 4 fucking jobs because they can't afford their mortgage, you know? So, you know what I mean? Like, even if we want to talk about, no one talks about Moonlight anymore, you know? Like, I mean, yeah, Moonlight was made several years ago, and since then, a lot of other movies have been made that not only fall under that category, but also tell the same story or tell similar stories that we can look at as well. So just because of the way movies roll out would be a good explanation for why movies tend to get rewatched less often today, because there are so many more movies made today. So, I mean, to the degree that they've upped how many Best Picture nominees there are, they've upped it to 10 total. It's now 10 each year get nominated for Best Picture, whereas it was 7 a few years before, and 5, I believe, a few years before that. So simply because of the vast quantity of movies that exist now, they've even expanded how many can be nominated for Best Picture, because there's so many fucking movies now.
I think the answer is going to be nil. And I think I have a good track record on this because let me point out that no one has actually rewatched a single film awarded Best Picture since about 2007.
Okay, he said 2007. We just looked at these. So 2007, that's a way far back here. So Slumdog Millionaire, No Country for Old Men. We can prove him wrong right here, right now. I've watched No Country for Old Men since 2007. Well, you're wrong, Ben. No one has watched it? What do you mean? I have. I've watched No Country for Old Men since 2007. I've watched Slumdog Millionaire since 2007. Max has watched King's Speech since 2007. I just watched 12 Years a Slave last week. I watched Moonlight a couple times during college. I've watched Parasite a couple times. And I've watched Everything Everywhere several times. So he's just wrong. Just from me and Max and the few friends that I have. You can't make such sweeping statements, Ben. What do you mean? Just because you haven't rewatched any of them doesn't mean everyone else hasn't, all right?
No one. In fact, let me name for you the films that have won Best Picture over the course of the last 15 years. And you tell me if you have ever rewatched any of them. So, 2021's winner was Coda, or as we like to call it, Disability Oscar bait. And
I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on it.
The movie's fine. I enjoyed Coda. Not worth watching twice.
I haven't seen it.
Or how about 2020? Frances McDormand poops in a bucket. That's Nomadland, in which Frances McDormand poops in a bucket. Has that been a big rewatch for you? Pulling that one out of the DVD.
I heard a lot about Nomadland when it was nominated. I never saw it though. It's not really the style of movie that I enjoy, so I didn't bother seeing it for that reason. But I heard all the people that I heard that saw it said it's good.
lately? Been putting that up on the streamer. You got to watch Francis.
So he's going to pick the last few years, which haven't had the best nominees. And then as he gets back into the 2013, 2016 era, like, he's going to start hitting big fucking movies. I'm interested to see what he says about Parasite.
Dorman Poop in a Bucket 2021. Nope. I didn't think so. For 2020. How about Rich Korean People Should Be Murdered, a.k.a. Parasite. 2019. Rich.
Tell me you didn't understand Parasite without telling me you didn't understand Parasite. Are you kidding me? Oh, Ben. Oh, Ben. Benny boy. Oh, boy. Rich Korean people should be murdered. That was your takeaway from Parasite? Are you fucking kidding me? Nowhere in this movie is it stated that murder is okay or what should happen. Oh, Ben. Oh, that's fucking funny. Oh, that's funny. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised that he didn't get it. He was probably upset that he had to read subtitles.
Korean People Should Be Murdered. I know a lot of people are like, I love Parasite. Just love that movie. Really? When was the last time you watched it?
I watched it in film school a couple times. I have rewatched it since we moved to Nashville as well. I watched it. I remember watching it here one time, but we watched it for class. Like in one of the classes that I was in, right? That was Parasite, wasn't it? Yeah, I watched Parasite for one of my classes.
Was it 2019? Perhaps? Like when it won Best Picture? How about 1950s racism and homophobia is bad, aka Green Book?
I haven't seen it.
How many people actually watch?
Most people were upset that that won, so.
How many people are watching it now?
So he might have a foot to stand on that one. I've not seen it. People who had seen it said it should not have won because it was up against a bunch of other stuff. What year was that? Did you say? 2018 Best Picture nominees. No, not. Oh wow, 2018 was a great year. Holy shit! Lady Bird, Call Me by Your Name, The Post, Dunkirk, Get Out, 3 Billboards. Holy fuck, 2018 was a good year. Holy shit. So was that 2017 then? That Green Book one? No, 2017 was La La Land, Arrival, Lion, Moonlight, Hidden Figures, Manchester by Fences, Hacksaw. Fuck, that was a good year for Best Pictures as well. So was it 2019? Yeah. And that wasn't a very good year for movies, I'm going to be honest. I've seen Bohemian Rhapsody. I've seen Green Book. I've seen Bohemian Rhapsody. I've seen Star Wars Born. I've seen Black Panther. A lot of people were upset that Green Book won when there were so many other good movies like Roma and Black Klansman and The Favorite. People loved The Favorite, Black Klansman, and Roma. And of all of these movies, having seen only 3 of them, I don't know that any of them were really worthy of Best Picture, but if these were the best movies that came out that year, I mean, I remember people being fucking pissed off that Green Book won Best Picture. So I very much remember people being pissed about that. So, you know.
Are you like pulling that one out? Streaming Green Book, are you?
He right about Green Book.
Or
if he just stopped at Green Book and only said Green Book, he'd be correct.
The worst Best Picture winner of all time from 2017. I f***ed a fish. That one. That's a big
I've never seen it, so I can't speak on it. I've never seen Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water.
So
yes, the word maybe forget.
But a lot of people liked that one. But that was a great year for movies. Like, holy fucking shit, huh? Like, this is an incredible listing here. I've never heard a bad thing about Lady Bird. Call Me by Your Name was decent. I didn't love it, but a lot of people did. Dunkirk was fantastic. Get Out was obviously incredible. I haven't seen 3 Billboards, but I've never really heard a bad thing about it. The Post was Oscar bait in every shape and form. Steven Spielberg directing, starring Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. Fucking Oscar bait if I've ever seen it.
Worst Best Picture winner, worst movie of all time. I mean, that one is definitely in competition. Have you pulled that one out? Have you rewatched it?
I've never seen it.
I'm just explaining why. My prediction that no one will ever watch Everything Everywhere All at Once forever, for all time, across the multiverse again, aka immigrant.
What does he think he's doing when he says all the extra stuff on top of the name of the movie? You're not funny. It's not amusing. It's not. If this isn't a Rickroll, Jimmy, I'm going to be disappointed in you. Oh, it's the toast falling over. Okay. I've seen this with bread. Incredible. So many views. Why is this video picking up after a year? I've seen this with toast. I don't understand. I know he thinks he's being funny. Like the people who say LGBTQIA plus ABCD EFG, like they think they're being funny, but they're not. Like you just sound stupid. You know what I mean?
Asian families must accept lesbians across the multiverse. Like, is anyone going to watch that?
Is that what you took away from the movie? Hold on, I want to hear his summary of Everything Everywhere.
Asian families must accept lesbians across the multiverse.
We'll get to that because he goes into EEAO more later. So,
like, is anyone going to watch that again? I have serious doubts.
I've already watched it
I say
several
that
times.
is because no one has ever watched a Best Picture winner in the last 5 years later. Anyone that has won in the last 15 years.
But he's just objectively wrong. They teach No Country for Old Men in film schools. Not just mine. In a bunch of film schools, they teach No Country for Old Men. They use the coin flip scene from No Country for Old Men, especially at my school, to teach film shit. That's... Ben, you're just objectively wrong. And Slumdog Millionaire, for a lot of people, is considered one of the best movies of all time, which I'm not going to disagree with. It's a fantastic fucking movie. One that I honestly should rewatch. I'm going to put it on my rewatch list. Because I haven't watched it in a while. Because I watched it so much as a kid, so... he's just objectively wrong.
Just going back in time here. How about Growing Up Gay and Black in Miami, aka Moonlight, 2016? You were watching that? How about...
That was a beautiful film. It was a beautiful film. It truly was a beautiful film. And it was up against a lot of really good movies. Fences was fucking amazing. I've rewatched Hacksaw Ridge recently. I had Max and I watched it since we've been here. I watched it with my dad when it came out. It was his turn to pick a movie, and I was forced to sit and watch a movie with him, and he actually picked a fun one. It stars Andrew Garfield, who you may know as the Amazing Spider-Man. It's an amazing film based off a true story. I only heard positive things about Manchester by the Sea. Hidden Figures was a lot of fun. Arrival is phenomenal. I've not seen Lion, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. It stars the guy from Slumdog Millionaire. La La Land, of course, we all remember the mix-up where they called La La Land, but it was actually Moonlight. I think that was a good call. Moonlight absolutely should have won over La La Land. I believe Viola Davis won an Oscar for her performance in Fences. Very well deserved. Fucking phenomenal film. But of course, Ben's going to only take away the fact that it's about a gay black man. Like, yeah. That's an important story that never really gets told. Especially not on the big screen. You know what I mean? Like, and also, Moonlight was told over a period of 3 different time periods in his life. Like younger, middle-aged, older. If I remember correctly, it's been a couple years since I've seen it. But, of course, all Ben's going to see is, ew, a gay black man. You know, because he's Ben Shapiro.
But
so
journalists are awesome. At Spotlight from 2015.
I don't remember that movie. I got to give him that. He skipped 2016? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize Fury Road came out in 2016. The Martian, another great year for movies. Room is amazing. Obviously, The Martian is great. Mad Max Fury Road is phenomenal. Bridge of Spies, another Oscar bait movie with Steven Spielberg directing and Tom Hanks starring. The Revenant finally got Mr. Leo Mann his Oscar. I've heard a lot of good about The Big Short as well. Amazing year for movies. Holy shit.
How about art? It's Birdman. Has anyone ever seen Birdman?
I've never seen Birdman, personally. What was it up against? Imitation Game. Holy fucking shit. Whiplash, American Sniper, Boyhood, Theory of... Holy fuck! Selma? The fact that I've heard of all of these movies is what always gets me. Because so often, Best Pictures, I've, like, never heard of them. Imitation Game is so fucking good. Whiplash was incredible. Theory of Everything is awesome. I've never seen Boyhood. I heard a lot of people were let down by that movie, that they were really disappointed in it. American Sniper was all over the place. Birdman was, I think, one partially because of the spectacle of it.
Birdman again? It existed for a brief moment in time during the Keaton Renaissance. And then
yeah,
it was just...
I've not rewatched Birdman because I've never seen it once, but I've rewatched Imitation Game several times. I've rewatched Theory of Everything a couple times. I don't think I've ever rewatched Whiplash, but I do see it everywhere in the zeitgeist. So
gone. How about Slavery Was Bad? That was 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, that was definitely what that movie was about, Ben. Oh my god, I hate the way he talks about these movies as if they're just absolute garbage. Did it miss the part where I typed 2014? Hello? What the fuck is going on? Why is there not a listing here? Okay, Best Picture for this year. Wolf of Wall Street, Gravity, Dallas Buyers Club, Captain Phillips, American Hustle, 12 Years a Slave. Holy fuck, another great year. That's a fantastic year there. Oh, Great Gatsby was also out that year. I'm surprised it wasn't nominated for something. The Leo one, of course. I don't know why it's not showing me that. There we go. Just in preparation.
Right, 2013?
Phenomenal movie, based on a true story.
Again, I'm not saying all these movies are bad. I'm saying no one's ever rewatched any of them.
I just watched it, Ben.
How about Argo? Remember when Argo was a thing?
I know Max has rewatched Argo a couple times. I've never seen it, personally. But it came out the same year as Les Mis, Lincoln, Life of Pi, Silver Linings Playbook, which I believe Jennifer Lawrence won something for. Don't quote me on that yet. Let me check. One Oscar win. Yes, Jennifer won Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role for that. I haven't seen it. Django Unchained came out that year. Fucking phenomenal movie. I saw it for the first time this past year. Incredible movie. The fact that Leo didn't win an Oscar for this movie is bonkers, because he absolutely killed it in that movie. Everyone killed it in that movie, but he did a massive transformation for that film. But I believe Argo is based on a true story as well. So those ones often do well.
AKA Jimmy Carter wasn't that bad. Remember that one? Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but
you don't?
Max
you don't?
has and loves Argo.
How about The Artist?
That one I've never heard of. I have never heard of The Artist, I don't think. I remember hearing about Extremely Loud and Critically Close. The Help, Moneyball, War Horse. I've not heard of a lot of these. I've heard of Hugo. I don't know what The Artist is even about. What the fuck is The Artist? I don't remember this movie. I'll give him that one.
Are you? The Artist, 2011 Best Picture winner. Literally the only one of these movies I've ever watched, even 2 years beyond its sell-by date, was The King's Speech from 2010. Right, the Brits can be good if they're fighting Nazis. That was the last time we allowed such a movie.
I haven't seen the movie, but I highly doubt that's what the movie was about. And it's true, the Brits can be good if they're fighting Nazis. Why is it giving me the same fucking list? Ooh, Black Swan was that year too. Social Network was that year too. Holy fuck. There's another one that they teach in film school. Winter's Bone was that year. I saw that one in film school as well. Toy Story 3, 127 Hours. The Kids Are All Right. Inception. The Fighter. Black Swan. Holy fuck, I've heard of all of those movies. True Grit. Oh my god. What a stack right there. Holy fucking shit, huh? These are all movies that people still talk about. With the exception of maybe Winter's Bone. I really only hear about Winter's Bone when people talk about Jennifer Lawrence, because that was her first, like, big movie. What's The Fighter? I'm blanking on what The Fighter is. Who's in this movie? Matt Damon? Is that Matt Damon? Mark Wahlberg. Okay. I don't remember this movie. But all the other ones I still hear about, other than The Kids Are All Right. Inception, obviously a massive part of the zeitgeist. King's Speech, Black Swan, which also I watched in film school. 127 Hours, Social Network. Oh my god, like, what a lineup. Holy shit, huh?
Movie to win Best Picture. There was also War is Bad, right, which was The Hurt Locker, 2009. The first 5 minutes of the film were great. The rest of it, I don't even remember any.
I've not seen Hurt Locker. Yes, that's definitely a year. Google, why are you doing this to me? Best Picture for this year was Hurt Locker, Avatar 1, The Blind Side, Inglourious Bastards, Precious, Up. Not as many in that year, but Inglourious Bastards is phenomenal. I also just watched it for the first time since we've been here in Nashville. I've watched The Blind Side recently. I rewatched it also this past year. Fantastic movie. I've never watched Avatar in one sitting, ever. I've never watched Hurt Locker as well. Now, I know he's saying that no one rewatches the winners, but they don't always pick the right winner for a lot of people. So, Inglourious Bastards and Blind Side are both ones I just watched recently. I watched Blind Side when it came out. I watch Blind Side every few years just by accident. Like, I'll come across it online somewhere and be like, oh, I should watch that again.
Any of it. And then Slumdog Millionaire won in 2008, a.k.a. we're not nominating Dark Knight for Best Picture.
Oh, he was just mad because Dark Knight didn't win. Okay. Fucking hell. Oh, wow, there were only 5 that year. Milk, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, The Reader, Oh, WALL-E came out that year. Fucking love WALL-E. I also just rewatched that one this past year as well. I don't care what movie came out that year. Slumdog Millionaire deserved the win. I don't care what anyone has to say. I've never seen Dark Knight. I've never seen it. I'm sorry, comic book movies don't win awards. That's not how this works. I don't care how good they are. That's not how the world works. Especially not at the Oscars. Just look at Black Panther. That's not, if they're gonna win, it's not gonna be for Best Picture. It's not gonna be for cinematography. None of that shit. Kung Fu Panda, Bolt, and WALL-E all came out that year. Fabulous movies. How many fucking nominations does Viola Davis have? Holy shit. She's fabulous. I will never forgive her for stealing Tatiana Maslany's Emmy, but, you know, Girlie's won a lot of fucking awards. Only 1 Oscar? For Fences. How many nominations at the Oscars, though? Oscars, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 Oscar nominations. That's insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Emmy nominations. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, ridiculous.
In fact, that was such an egregious non-nomination that the Academy Awards then expanded its Best Picture category to 8 to 10 films, you recall, in order to get more popular films nominated. And not a single one has won since then.
But they have. Well, yes, they have. What are you talking about?
Want to know why the Oscars are failing, guys? It's because you won't nominate films that people like to watch, that people enjoy watching and don't feel obligated to watch.
That was every nomination this year. They nominated Top Gun motherfucking Maverick this year. What are you talking about? Every single movie on this list, I have heard someone talk about. Whether it be online, whether it be in person. Every single nomination this year, I've heard someone mention as saying that they loved it. They fucking nominated Avatar: The Way of Water. What are you on? Again, Ben is just an idiot.
I understand that people are pretending right now to like Everything Everywhere All at Once forever for all time. Some people may like it. I have some real doubts about that one. Okay, final thing that I hate here. So this is legit the weirdest video I have seen.
Is it going to be the music performance from the Oscars? It better be.
I want to say that it's the weirdest I've ever seen, but that's not true. I've seen so many weird videos in the last, 2 years. I'm going to say this is the weirdest video that I've seen this month.
Why are we talking about Dylan Mulvaney? We're talking about the Oscars.
This is a very weird video. So Drew Barrymore apparently has a talk show. I don't know why. She was the cute little girl from E.T. That's the last time she was good in anything.
Because people love Drew Barrymore. Fuck off.
So Drew Barrymore.
You're not allowed to talk bad about Drew Barrymore, okay, Ben? Go suck a cock instead. How about that?
Now has a talk show. I don't know
Drew Barrymore has never done anything wrong to anybody, okay?
Want to hear her talk, but apparently it's a thing. And she had on the greatest...
I love watching clips from Drew Barrymore's show. She's just so much fun to watch. She's very uppity and happy, which is, as you all know, isn't always the vibe that I vibe with. But watching her interview people is so fun because she's always so enraptured with what they're saying, which is what you want out of an interviewer.
Hero of our time. And
if this is about her kneeling in front of Dylan Mulvaney, she does that all the time. That's not a special thing. Like, she does that all the time. Like, all the time.
That hero, of course, is Dylan Mulvaney, a dude who has had surgeries and dresses as a woman and pretends to be a girl.
Sure.
It got super weird. Super weird. Here we go.
It's interesting because I look at someone like you, and I can't imagine anybody disliking you.
Oh, please.
It's true. It's true.
Do you want to know,
Now she's getting on her knees.
ironically,
She's getting on her knees in front of a
dislikes
dude
me the
dressed as a
most?
lady.
She gets on her knees all the time. All the time, Ben. Also, Dylan is not a dude. Let me find it. I can find this fairly quickly. Go to my profile. It was a while ago because he's behind. He's very much behind. How old is this video? 12 days ago? Yeah. I spend too much time on Twitter. It's okay. Oh, see, if I'd opened Twitter yesterday, I would have seen about the shooting. Because it's all over my trending page. Yeah, it's literally a thing. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Na-na-na. There's literally an article about it. Why does Drew Barrymore keep interviewing guests on the floor? She's just a floor girl, okay? That's allowed. Some people are just people who like to sit on the floor. It happens all of the time. Where's this? The thread. There was a whole thread someone made. I can't find it, but it's a thread. Where is it? Oh, here's a meme. Drew Barrymore, every female celebrity. I wish there was a nice... I wish the thread were easier to find. But see, she's on her knees here for Jennifer Aniston. If you just scroll, you'll come across it. This isn't just because, oh my god, a trans woman. She does it all the time. Just tell me you hate Dylan Mulvaney. That's all you have to say, Ben. We know you just don't like Dylan.
Sometimes.
I also don't know, how is this relevant to the Oscars? Are we going to tie this back to the Oscars?
Drew Barrymore on her knees in front of a trans woman, meaning a biological male who pretends to be Audrey Hepburn and gets some surgeries, hugging on the compassion.
She does it all the time, Ben.
Yep.
Either just say you don't like Drew Barrymore or you don't like Dylan Mulvaney. We know you don't like Dylan Mulvaney, so you just have something against Drew Barrymore existing?
Our culture is going in the right direction. I think we'll be fine. Well, if these movies, the ones that I'm describing...
How is that relevant? I love him just taking a break in the middle of him trashing the Oscars to trash Dylan Mulvaney. Like, he cannot get her off his mind. He really can't. Dylan Mulvaney lives rent-free in Ben's mind at all times, and honestly, good for her.
Here, if they put you to sleep, the question is, how do you stay asleep? You know, falling asleep on the couch, it's nice in the moment. Then you wake up and you need to move over to... Same problem with any other underwear brand. John.com. See site for horrible attack video. Not because the video itself is like morally egregious or something. It's not as bad as some of the stuff Trump has said, but I don't even understand the angle. This is
Why are we talking about
desperate flailing
where
from
is the
president of the United States. He's struggling because he can't. Also, president, you could have done that again. Once you have been,
are we talking about
declares, that makes it particularly rough for him. But beyond that, they're using for the nickname, and we should start with that. But that wasn't okay. All of that is just silliness. Could help take credit for. He could be
there.
Why are we talking about... This is the Oscars video. Why are you talking about shit that's not the Oscars? Huh? Chop your shit up better, you fucking loser. Is it this video? Okay, maybe it's this one. Though I did enjoy this one so far. I love him taking a break in the middle of trashing the Oscars to shit on Dylan Mulvaney. It is the funniest fucking thing. He does that all of the time. Like, every time I watch Hassan react to a Ben video, Ben always finds a way to bring up Dylan Mulvaney, and it is so fucking funny.
Last night was the Academy Awards. Nobody watched it, but we watched.
Oh, hold on.
Oscars? Nope.
I was watching the Academy Awards this year like I was watching a fucking football game. I was sweating because I was so sucked in and I was so excited. One thing Ben is constantly wrong about is cinema, but hey, you can't be smart about everything. EAO was a unique movie. I'm glad they got the recognition. I feel like Ben only hates Hollywood because they hated all his scripts. This is Ben's audience, I should tell you. Ben's audience, because this isn't like some viral video. This is a pretty average viewership for him. His audience is shitting on him in this video, which is so fucking funny. I've rewatched Parasite at least 4 times after the Oscars. A couple months ago was the last time. Movie gets better after every watch. Ben, you're dead wrong. The movie is not about killing rich people. In fact, it criticizes both classes equally. Parasite is the closest thing to a perfect movie, even if you're comparing it to all-time great movies. Fucking correct. That's why I laughed at his definition of it being like rich Korean people should die, because it doesn't paint anybody in a good light. The poor people or the rich people. No one is painted as a good or bad person. They both have their shitty parts. I've never been that excited by sports. Yeah. Yeah, from what I can say, Everything Everywhere was one of the first time winners that actually lined up with public perception, which is quite nice. I really hope that it can continue to be that way. Yeah. I rewatched 12 Years a Slave twice, saw it twice in theaters, and again after it came out on DVD. The movie is a masterpiece, not because it's about slavery, but because it perfectly encapsulates show don't tell. I've rewatched EAO quite a few times. There were a lot of scenes that I would skip for lewdness, lol. But even as a Christian, I recognize how the characters need to be put meaning in their lives or else it resorts to nihilism. Yes. I've only never rewatched Parasite because I rarely rewatch movies anyways. I rarely watch movies anyways, but it was actually a really damn good film that definitely deserved the Oscar. I would rewatch it in a heartbeat if a friend suggested it. I watched Parasite again last month. Like, I love seeing something that Ben is so wrong about. Even his own audience disagrees with him. That's so funny. I love that so much.
Last night was the Academy Awards. Nobody watched it, but we watched it, so you didn't have to. As
I watched
always,
it.
the Oscars is way too long. It was apparently
It is too long.
quite boring. It did have...
It really wasn't that boring, actually. I just skipped over the speeches for movies I didn't care about or didn't know anything about. Like, if it was a movie I hadn't seen, which was most of them, because a lot of them were, like, short films and stuff like that that it's hard to access mainstream-wise, I would skip over the, like, accepted speeches of movies I hadn't heard of, because I wouldn't know what the fuck they were talking about. I usually didn't know the people, but I didn't think it was that boring, to be honest. I did think it was too long, but, I mean, it's an award show. That's how that works.
Have some moments. So first of all, the overall Oscar analysis, diversity always wins. So you can bet these things. I mean, seriously, if you're going to bet the Oscars, always bet on the diversity film in order to win. This year, the diversity...
We can look at these films again. Let's see. Diversity film. Coda is diversity because deaf people are in it. Nomadland is about white people during the Great Recession. Don't know how that's about diversity. Parasite was a Korean film, so diversity. It was made in a Korean country by Korean people. Green Book is a white savior movie. Shape of Water has white people in it. It's not a diversity film necessarily, unless you want to say because it was directed by Guillermo del Toro. Moonlight, yeah, sure, it's a gay black guy, sure. Spotlight is about white people in the news. Birdman's about a white guy. 12 Years a Slave is about slavery. Argo is about a white guy. The Artist is about white people, I think. King's Speech is about British people, white British people. Hurt Locker is about the war, white people in the war. So tell me how it's always a diversity film, Ben. If that were true, all of these movies would be about brown and black people, but they're not. What's up, Tin? What's up? And I didn't even get into Slumdog Millionaire. No Country for Old Men is about white people. The Departed is about white people. Lord of the Rings is a fiction film about white people. Chicago is about a lot of white people. Beautiful Mind is about a white guy. Gladiator is about white people. Tell me where the diversity is. Where is it? Because there's been a few diversity films in the past few years? That suddenly makes the Oscars so diverse? It's not. I am white. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm white, though. It's not relevant. Ben's complaining that if you want to know who's going to win, just pick that diversity film. Like, that's not true. It's just not. It's just lately the films about people who are more diverse than your standard white straight people have been better movies. Parasite was objectively the best movie that came out that year. That was nominated anyways. It was fucking awesome. It just happened to be based in Korea by Koreans about Koreans. You know? Like, maybe just, I don't know, get your thumb out of your ass, Ben. Like, I know, I would like to say I don't know why he's so annoyed by this, but it's Ben Shapiro, so I don't know what we expect. It's exactly what I expected, for being honest. What else does he talk about here? Is this the ad segment?
Film was indeed Everything Everywhere All at Once diversity film in order to win. This year, the diversity film was indeed Everything Everywhere All at Once All the Time Forever.
He thinks he's so funny. It's kind of sad. So let's see. Yeah, technically, yes, you're right. Unless we want to consider the German movie a diverse film because it's about German people and not just, basic white people. Like basic American white people. It's about Germans and Germany and the French. But yeah, Everything Everywhere was the only nominated film that starred non-white people, unless we want to count Avatar, which is about blue people. So sure, Ben, if you want to give that the credit, then sure. I believe Tar is gay. I know Triangle of Sadness has gays in it. All of every other nominated film, with the exception of Avatar, is about a white main character. So sure, Ben, I'll give you all the diversity. Pick one. Not just because it was the best movie that came out, although a lot of these movies are phenomenal. You know. Quite a lot. They make movies everywhere, all across the world. Everywhere. All the time. Every day. It's honestly disappointing that more Korean films aren't nominated, because so many of them are really, really good. Granted, I think they have to submit it for it to be nominated, which is why you see it less often from other countries that they submit their movies, because usually it has to make it into the American market for them to feel like they can submit it. I don't know if there's certain barriers you have to pass before you can submit it. I have no idea. But, like, you know what I mean? Yes, they generally feature English-speaking ones, and usually ones that aren't English-speaking are put under the category of, like, Best International Feature, which is what, that's what All Quiet on the Western Front won Best International Feature. Parasite won Best International and Best Picture, which was, I think, the first time that it ever happened, was that the Best International Film also won Best Picture. Absolutely deserved. So I couldn't give you a percentage on how many non-white films there are, but there's a lot of non-white people in this country, and a lot of them make movies. But you don't see those very often.
And that film was likely going to win. Now, normally what happens with the Oscars is that there is a film that sort of emerges as the early front runner, and then there's a backlash against the film, and then some other film wins. Right? You'll remember that happened the year that it was like 3 Billboards at Ebbing was in the lead, and then all of a sudden it just sort of fell away because everybody's like, it's a lot of white people in that movie.
Well, no, usually the movie that comes out first is forgotten by the end of the year because it came out early in the year. So then all the other movies come out and you forget about the early one. Everything Everywhere was one of the first movies to come out of that year. I believe it was a February release. Yeah, it was a March movie. That's pretty early in the year. So it was one of the earlier ones. So I don't know where he's going with this.
Can't do that. That thing sort of happens a lot. Well, the Oscar winner last night, the big Oscar winner that took everything home, was Everything Everywhere All at Once Forever.
It didn't take everything home, but it took almost everything home. It won, I believe, 9 of its 11 nominations. But yeah. I don't like Ben Shapiro. What makes you think I've been shitting on Ben Shapiro since you got here? What makes you think I like Ben Shapiro? I believe it won 9, right? 7. It won 7 of its 11 nominations. Best Screenplay, Best Picture, Best Directing, Best Actress. It won Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Editing. The ones it did not win was Best Original Song, Best Original Score. Stephanie Hsu was also nominated for Best Supporting Actress. They had 2 Best Supporting Actress nominated, so they obviously weren't going to win both of those, and Best Costume Design. So they did not win everything. Costume Design went to Black Panther. Best Score went to All Quiet. Best Original Song went to RRR. And obviously Best Actress went to Jamie Lee Curtis from the same movie. I watch him because he makes for good content. Yeah, that's what he makes for fun content. So I don't enjoy watching him, which makes for good content from me, because it's just me screaming at Ben Shapiro for 2 hours.
for the rest of time. That movie ended up winning Best Actress for Michelle Yeoh. It ended up winning
Michelle Yeoh. You could at least say her name right, Ben.
Picture. It ended up winning also, I believe, did it win Best Director? I think it won Best Director as well.
You can't just pull up the list like I did. It's not hard to pull up the list. Also, I thought you said you watched it, Ben. You can't pull up the IMDb page like I just did.
It won Best Director. It basically swept.
Now, yes, it swept all the big categories. To win, the only big category it didn't take was Best Actor, because it didn't have a nomination for that, because there was no Best Actor. It was Best Actor in a Supporting Role, because the lead was a woman. So that's the only big one for the night that it didn't take home. I don't remember who took that home. Best Actor 2023. That was Brendan Fraser. Yeah, Brendan Fraser took that home, which good for him. I'm glad to have him back in the fold.
The reason that it swept is
because it was phenomenal.
it fulfills two intersectional check boxes.
Because it was
It
phenomenal.
fulfills the Asian intersectional checkbox, and we already had Parasite that won a couple of years ago, so we've done that. But it's a very gay movie. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
It's not a very gay movie.
Is a very LGBT
How?
movie.
How is it very
It
LGBT?
has the main storyline is essentially an Asian immigrant mom who is working really hard and ignoring her family, but she has to learn that her lesbian daughter's girlfriend should be introduced to grandpa, who has to be taught to accept.
How is that the main storyline you pulled out of this? I know gay people live in his head rent-free. I'm aware of that. I'm aware the gays and the transes live in his head rent-free. I'm aware. But how is that the main thread you pulled? That's not what the movie's about, Ben. It's just part of it. That's not what the movie is about, learning to love life even if it sucks. That's what the movie is about. It's a movie about nihilism. It's not a movie about, oh, I should introduce my gay daughter's girlfriend to my old father. That's not what the movie's about. That's just one of the through threads of the movie. That's one of the like 70 different plot points in this movie, Ben. I know gay people live in his head rent-free, so that's all he's gonna see when he watches this movie. The only other gay thing in this movie is the hot dog finger universe. That's it. Which shows up for like, I don't know, maybe a minute of screen time? Maybe. In total. It's so LGBT. It's so LGBT.
the new ways of the world. There are the whole movie is about alternative universes and parallel universes, and in one of them, Michelle Yeoh herself is a lesbian.
Michelle Yeoh.
Oddly, her daughter is a lesbian in all the universes, apparently.
She's not.
But Michelle Yeoh is...
She's not. That's not how multiverses work, Ben. Did you watch the movie? There's literally a line that Jobu says in the hallway scene after the dildo fight. She says, they're still hung up on the fact that I'm gay in this universe. Like, that's literally a line which would indicate that she's not gay in every universe. Also, the basis of the multiverse would, by definition, she can't be gay in all of them. Hence how Michelle Yeoh's character, Evelyn, is gay in one of them with Jamie Lee Curtis's character. This is basic multiversal shit. Like, it's the most basic multiverse thing that's not just applicable to this movie.
A lesbian in some universes with Jamie Lee Curtis in, like, Hot Dog Fingers universe. None of this makes any sense unless you've seen the movie, because the movie itself does not make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
It makes perfect
sense. I was kind of
sense.
lukewarm when I first watched it. The more I reflect on it, the less I like it.
I mean, it's a fantastic movie, so of course, the more Ben reflects on it, the less he's gonna like it, because it's Ben Shapiro.
Hollywood and a quiet ballot that got revealed before this. And I said I had to sit there like 4 times to get through it. I think that's right. The movie itself is 139 minutes. It's a really, really long movie.
It's really not that long. Tar's a full 3 hours long, if I remember correctly. Everything Everywhere is 2.5 hours long, which is pretty standard. It's 2:19. It's not even a full 2.5. Tar is 2:40. Avatar: Way of Water is 3 hours long. Top Gun: Maverick is 2 hours and 11 minutes long. All Quiet on the Western Front is 2.5 hours long. Triangle of Sadness is 2.5 hours long. Banshees of Inisherin looks to be the shortest one, under 2 hours. Elvis is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. The Fablemans is 2.5. So Everything Everywhere is the second shortest one on this list. Third shortest one on this list. Woman Talking, Banshees of Inisherin, and then Everything Everywhere. Oh no, Top Gun is 8 minutes shorter. It is one of the shortest ones on this list. It is the 4th shortest one of the 10 nominated, Ben.
I mean, 139 minutes is a 2 hour, 20-minute film. This movie should have been done about 140. In any case.
No. God, no. Can you imagine them trying to squeeze that into even shorter time? It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, Ben.
Minutes is a 2 hour, 20-minute film. This movie should have been done.
Meanwhile, Elvis is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. And Avatar is 3 hours and 12 minutes long. Why aren't you complaining about that? I have never sat down and watched the first Avatar movie in one sitting. Ever. That has never happened. I've seen all of it, but never in order, never all at the same time, always in chunks. Because it's too goddamn long.
Done about 140.
220 is the average movie length these days. Like, the average big blockbuster is about 2.5. So it's actually shorter than what you would normally see.
In any case, it's not like a horrible movie. It's just kind of nonsensical in a
Yeah,
lot of ways,
that's
and then
the point.
finishes with sort of the mushy "can't we all get along" story.
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point, Ben. You're on the point. You got it. You're there. You got the point.
In any case, it's not like a horrible movie. It's just kind of nonsensical.
That's the point. Because life is nonsensical. That's the fucking point. I saw it all, but remember nothing other than them sitting under the trees at the end. Yeah.
A lot of ways, and then finishes with sort of the mushy "can't we all get along" story.
No, it's not the "can't we all get along." It's the "we should enjoy life despite the fact it's all nonsense." That's the movie. That's what it's about.
Case. That was sort of the only big political moment of the night. There were a couple other political moments of the night. That was the big one. Was the Oscar-winning director Daniel Scheinert saying that I used to dress in drag as a kid, and no one's threatened by drag. No one, because I used to dress in drag as a kid. Yeah, spread your morality, Hollywood. Do it.
We want to dedicate this
because they were up on stage so many times. They had the opportunity to say so many different things because these two won best screenplay, best directing, and best picture. So they were up on stage themselves 3 times throughout the night. So they were like, we've already been up here, like once they got to best picture or in the last one, they let other people speak. They let their producer talk during that one. Cause at that point they'd already been up on stage twice that night.
To the mommies, all the mommies of the world, to our moms, specifically my mom and
yeah, Daniel Scheinert brought his mom as his +1.
Dad, Ken and Becky, thank you for not squashing my creativity when I was making really disturbing horror films or really perverted comedy films or dressing in drag as a kid, which is a threat to nobody.
Facts. It truly isn't, but Ben's gonna be mad about it. Let's watch Ben be mad about drag.
I mean, I'm sorry. Talk to us more about your morality, Hollywood. Yes, I want to hear from Hollywoodites how to raise kids. That's definitely.
Meanwhile, every single day, it's revealed that another Republican dressed in drag at some point.
Definitely what I want to hear.
I love to see it.
Well, at the Oscars, they hand out prizes for diversity, but the next prize you win could be for actually participating.
I'm not watching your ad.
Still has not won a quite wonderful. Again, it's swept from Kei Hai Kwan. You'll remember him.
Stop saying their names wrong. How are you saying their names wrong? His name is Key. His name is Key. Oh my God, Ben. You could at least say their names right. They're not even difficult Chinese names. Like, oh my God. His name is Key, not K. It's Key. Jesus Christ. I love people disagreeing with Ben in the comments because, again, this is a pretty average amount of viewerships for him, and I love seeing people disagree with him. The reason Everything Everywhere All at Once swept is because it was unique. It did something new, it did something different, and it did something that everyone could connect to in some way, shape, or form. That's what made it win. Not because it was about an Asian family or because it had a gay person in it. It was about family. It was about life. It was about the monotony and like the nihilism of life, which so many of us are feeling right now. And because of COVID, they made this movie during COVID. They finished filming. They were shut down. They had 1 day of production left when they were shut down for COVID. And they did all of post-production in COVID times during the lockdowns and everything. And they purposely waited to release it until the theaters were open again because they wanted people to be able to experience this movie together. Because this movie is about nihilism. It is about the monotony of life, which so many of us are so much more intimately familiar with because of COVID. This movie didn't win because it has Asian people in it. This movie won because it did something new, which we don't see in Hollywood very often. It did something new and different and was super fucking popular with a lot of people, which you don't see winning. You don't see super popular films winning Oscars too terribly often.
As short round.
I'm sorry. I'm so annoyed. I want to hear. It annoys me so much that he can't say these people's names right. Michelle Yeoh, Ke Huy Quan. These are not hard names to say, okay?
I will say that the best moment of the Oscars was a winner. Again, it swept from Ke Huy Quan. You'll remember him.
That's not his name.
As the
I'm sorry, that pisses me off so much. They're not even hard names. There are some Asian names out there that are hard for us to say with our white tongues, okay? Ke Huy Quan is not hard to say. Michelle Yeoh is not hard to say. These are not, they're not difficult. They've been said countless times over the past few months, and he can't even say them right, and I have to believe that's on purpose because they're so, his name is Key. Just key, like a lock and key. It's not difficult. It's not hard. It's just so fucking stupid that I have to believe he's doing it on purpose.
A short round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He was handed the award by Harrison Ford.
He was. It was so awesome. It was so cool to see him go up and get handed this Oscar by the guy that starred in like his first big film with him. That was so fucking cool to see. As someone who's never seen Temple of Doom, I don't know. It was so heartfelt.
Harrison Ford still has not won an acting Oscar, but Ke Huy Quan, who would have called that? The short round's going to win an acting Oscar before Harrison Ford.
I mean, it took Leonardo DiCaprio 800 years to win one, and when he had many that he won. I'm not as familiar with Harrison Ford's acting career outside of like Indiana Jones and Star Wars. Oh fuck, this is not the page that I want. I want his filmography. Oh, why is it set up like this? Fuck this shit. I'll go to his IMDb page. How old is he? He's quite old, isn't he? 80 years old. God damn. I mean, he kind of looks it, but he kind of rocks it also. Oh yeah, I forgot he was in The Fugitive. Blade Runner. I'm surprised Blade Runner didn't win. I mean, not necessarily acting, but Blade Runner didn't win. Like, not the new one, but the original Blade Runner, which he was also in. I mean, he's been in some of the biggest blockbusters of all time, like Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, but I don't think those movies won much at all. But again, like I said, Leonardo DiCaprio just won his Oscar recently, and he's also been in the game about as long as Harrison has, so it's not necessarily about how long you've been in it, but how lucky you get.
But in any case, he did give a quite wonderful speech last night.
He did.
My journey started on a boat. I spent a year in a refugee camp. And
I love this man.
I ended up here on Hollywood's biggest stage. They say stories like this only happen in the movies. I cannot believe it's happening to me.
Of course, Ben loved Key's speech because Key said, "This is the American dream." He's gonna say it.
This is the American dream.
Of course, Ben loves that.
Yeah, that's quite wonderful. That really is like a nice thing. And I think that's why everybody was rooting for Ke Huy Quan. The
Key.
other aspects
His name's
of
Key.
the diversity picks were for Best Actor, a straight white male won, but playing a gay white male, of course. An overweight, morbidly obese gay white male. That'd be Brendan Fraser.
Oh, I didn't know
in
his
The
character
Whale,
was gay.
Who
I didn't realize his character was gay. Probably because it's not a big part of his character, but of course, again, gay people live rent free in Ben's head.
won over Austin Butler, who probably gave the best performance of the year as Elvis, really kind of inhabited Elvis. But Brendan Fraser won for The Whale. Michelle Yeoh won Best
Michelle Yeoh. Ben, tell me you're doing this on purpose. Please tell me you're not just this dumb.
Best Actress. She is very good in Everything Everywhere All at Once. The other person...
He's gonna say Cate Blanchett, right?
But there was one person who just got kind of crapped upon.
Or Angela... No, that's
for
supporting.
even being nominated. That was Andrea Riseborough, who gives, I think, a better performance to Leslie, but doesn't matter because, of course, diversity above all. Best Supporting...
No, she won Best Actress because of the movie she was in.
Actress went to Jamie Lee Curtis, who's a big sweep, as I say, for Everything Everywhere All at Once all the time.
Yeah, people were upset about Jamie, which is understandable. I think if between her and Stephanie should have won it for the movie. But I was happy for Jamie Lee to win. I don't really give that much of a shit. People were mad because Angela Bassett didn't win. I was like, bitch, she's in Black Panther. She's not going to win. Shut up.
Now, the big shutout here, and it's worth noting here, the big shutout here is Top Gun. So Top Gun, I believe, did...
Yeah. Top Gun and Elvis, I don't think won anything all night. No, Top Gun won something. Hold on. They won something, I thought. Yeah, it won something. Best sound. It won best sound. What do you mean shutout? Elvis was the shutout. Elvis didn't win shit. That was the shutout. Yeah, it didn't win shit.
Did not win a single award. Did Top Gun win anything
Yes, it won best sound.
last night? Top Gun it won best sound. It won best sound. Which
So did you watch the Oscars, Ben? He said he did. I don't think he did.
okay, best sound. It did not win best production design.
Nope,
It did not win
didn't
best
deserve
film
it.
editing.
Did not deserve
It
it.
did not win. By the way, it certainly should have won best film editing. The notion that Everything
No, it
Everywhere All at
shouldn't.
Once won best film editing is absurd. Everything
Ben doesn't know how editing works, so we're just going to ignore his opinion on this.
Everywhere All at Once needed to be edited with a chainsaw. But Top Gun Maverick won best. Did not win best film editing. It did not win even best visual effects. That went to Avatar: The Way of Water.
Which, of course, they did. Avatar: The Way of Water is all visual effects, so
This is a tactical mistake by Hollywood
it's not. It's just funny.
because in 5 years nobody's going to be watching Everything Everywhere All at Once.
No one's going to be watching Top Gun either. Shut up, Ben.
It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a movie like Birdman or The Revenant. You know, things where in the moment people are like, oh man, that's a great movie, and then no one ever watches it again. I know that critics fell in love with this movie. Again, I think I know the reasons why, but it's not. Top Gun was clearly the phenomenon of the year. The fact that there were so many people who were opposed to Top Gun was a quasi-political statement. It was sort of along the lines of this piece from MSNBC called Top Gun Maverick is the most insidious movie at the Oscars. This is from Zishan Alim, who said that it's insidious because it is very much in favor of the American war machine as a beacon of virtue and excitement. It's a poisonous
Yeah.
kind of nostalgia, one that smuggles love of endless war into a celebration of live action. I think that is one of the kind of subtle reasons that Top Gun had to lose, because it was
No, it's because it was up against one of the best movies ever made. That's how that works. Like, everyone who was up against Parasite, they were up against one of the best movies to have ever been made. I don't know what to tell you, Ben.
was kind of too pro-America. I wasn't allowed to win. Speaking of people who are not pro-America, one of the people who spoke last night was a guy named Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen is in John Wick 4. I'm not sure why.
Oh, yeah, Donnie
Yen was speaking at the Oscars. But as it turns out,
I just
Donnie
watched that movie. He was great.
and also is a front person for the Chinese regime.
Huh?
So, according to
A front person for the Chinese... What? He said Donnie Yen's name right. Fucking asshole. There might be spoilers in here for John Wick 4. Hold on. Let me pull this away just in case. Ooh, my stomach is grumbling. Star Wars actor Donnie's Communist Party ties spark host backlash. Okay, CNN, what we got to say? What are his connections? Describing it as a supporter of the Chinese Communist regime. I mean, he was born in China. What the fuck do you expect? What are his statements? One example listed was a profile published last week in GQ, which Yen discussed the large and occasionally violent pro-democracy demonstrations that gripped Hong Kong throughout 2019. Quote, it wasn't a protest, okay, it was a riot. I mean, people here have said the same shit about our shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, he can be wrong, too. Like, y'all are wrong about this shit all the time. Ben says the same thing about the stuff here, about the protests here during the George Floyd stuff. He said the same fucking shit. Petition claims Yen's remark, quote, not only violate the spirit of freedom of speech, but right at Hong Kong. Is that all he said? Is that all he said? Yen said more Chinese action movies were needed to become the pride of China and tell the story of China. He's not wrong. He was previously criticized for performing next to Chinese leader Xi Jinping in 2017, an event Yen called a great honor, and for celebrating Hong Kong's return to the motherland, China, in 2020. He's Chinese. He was born there. What? Like, not everyone is going to be good at all the things. He was born in China. Like, also, yeah. It's considered a great honor to perform alongside the leader of your country. It doesn't matter what country it is. People called it an honor to perform alongside Donald Trump, even though he's a fucking idiot. Now, I don't love the celebration of Hong Kong's return to motherland China. I'm not a big fan of that. I think Hong Kong should be free. But Yen acknowledges his own critics. A lot of people might not be happy with what I'm saying, but I'm speaking from my own experience. So he's not even saying he's speaking in fact. He's speaking of his own opinion. I'm not seeing anything here that's like, oh, China is the best place ever. It's A, the kind of shit they say here about protests here, and B, some things I don't agree with. Not every actor is going to agree with everyone on everything. He didn't say China's the best country to ever do country things. Like, that's not... Oh, he's the main guy from Ip Man. Okay. Ip Man 1 is one of those ones I need to watch because it's considered one of the best action films, like, ever. Also saying that China needs to make more movies to, like, show the pride of China. Like, yeah, that's how people talk about China. Huh. I mean, the main chick from the Mulan thing, from the new Mulan movie that they made a couple years ago that was ass, said shit that was worse than that.
There's a petition that was actually set up against Donnie Yen doing this, set up by a Hong Kong activist who claimed the decision showed contempt for the people of Hong Kong and that Yen's presence would damage the image and reputation of the film industry.
Which I disagree. They didn't put him on stage to talk about how great China is. They put him on stage to introduce somebody. They weren't platforming him to talk about politics. They were giving him a space. They were putting him on stage to read a script that they wrote about the Oscars.
He had opposed the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong in 2019.
Which I don't agree with.
Called it a riot.
But Ben has done the same thing with the George Floyd protests.
He was known for starring in the Ip Man series, which is a kind of
a beloved series by stuntmen, by action performers, by a lot of people.
Kung Fu series. He was in Rogue One. He's in the 2020 live-action remake of Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
But he is, in fact, a frontman for Chinese positions at the Oscars. Again, not particularly shocking that the Oscars was perfectly fine featuring all of that. Overall, however...
China wasn't mentioned in the Oscars with the exception of a couple speeches that were given. I think Michelle mentioned it once in one of her speeches.
Pretty boring Oscars. Jimmy Kimmel kind of hemmed it in. He didn't get too political, which I think the Oscars needed to do. It's not going to revive the Oscars. Not that the Oscars is still a flag.
I think Jimmy Kimmel did a good job. He had a few cringe moments, but that's going to happen.
Enterprise by the numbers. It's still going down and down and down and down.
Like your numbers,
again,
Ben.
The reason for that is because the big movies are the ones. The only two that really did like amazing business last year were Top Gun and Avatar, and neither of them really cleaned up at all. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now.
I love seeing everyone disagree with him. It's true. What? In detailing his bizarre childhood, he outlines exactly why it's a threat before declaring it's a threat to no one. How does he outline the fact that it's a threat? He said, thank you for not shutting down my creativity. Thank you for not shutting down the weird movies I made. Because that's how filmmaking works. You start by making weird shit. Most of the time. He won an Oscar. What do you mean? Shut up. He won multiple Oscars that night, actually. Yeah, he didn't mention All Quiet, which took home, I believe, 4 Oscars. Do you think Ben watched RRR? No. Do I think Ben watched a 3-hour movie based in India? No. Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. It's a 3-hour film that is not in English and is based in India fighting back against British colonialists. No, Ben didn't watch RRR. That's funny. That's funny. That's fucking funny. That's funny. That's good. That was funny. Max should be home in 20-ish minutes. I don't know what they're going to want to do when they get home, though. If they're going to want to shower or what. I need to use the restroom real quick, but if you want to pick a video to watch next, you can watch another one. It could be more Ben. It can be something else. Because I do have this Congress people want to indoctrinate your children video. If there's one, I know we've had a couple more in the React channel. But we talked about the statue of David in the chat, in the thing. Oh my god. Okay, so I'll be right back. I just gotta pee. I'll be back. No wonder it's so hot in here. The apartment's up to 78 degrees. No wonder it's so fucking toasty in here. Makes sense, it makes sense. Let's see. The CDC one is the best. Oh god, this is old. Old shit. You're sending me old shit? 1908s? What? Does it mean the 1980s? Not a typo in the description. Greenhouse. Any updates on this? A private Christian school. Oh, maybe they'll do something about it now. Christians are being shot. Maybe they'll do something about it now. Yeah, we were just over there last night. It's a private school.
Don't look very happy, Minister. No, it's all very well, Humphrey, but suppose this report isn't as conclusive as you say it is.
Well, in that case, we don't publish it.
The CDC is under fire for failing to publish a large portion of data related to the COVID-19 pandemic.
You mean we suppress it?
Certainly not. We just don't publish it.
What's the difference?
Oh, Mister, all the difference in the world. Suppression is the instrument of totalitarian dictatorships. We don't do that sort of thing in a free country. We simply take a democratic decision not to publish it.
The CDC has collected stockpiles of critical data on COVID hospitalizations and booster shots, but most of that information has not been made public.
Well, there is a well-established government procedure for deciding not to publish reports.
Is really?
Of course. You simply discredit them.
Good heavens.
Well, you point out that the report could be used to put unwelcome pressure on government because it might be misinterpreted.
A spokeswoman for the CDC told The Times the agency has been reluctant to release certain data because they fear it could be misinterpreted.
And that always does the trick?
Nearly always.
I mean, it's a valid fear because people don't know how to read, but yeah. I kind of want to do Libs of TikTok. I know it's long, but we don't have to watch the whole thing. Since there's a TikTok reaction, we can always stop after any of the TikToks. But we are on a bin run today, so we could just go on and do the bin being upset that AOC exists video. Got bored of the last video. Just bored of bin in general. It's understandable. We'll do Ben.
Well, folks,
It is shorter.
the congressional Democrats, they would love nothing better
And he usually
than...
stops to do an ad read in the middle as well, so...
to indoctrinate your kids with a bunch of garbage. And they think you're a fascist if you want to stop them. In the name of free speech, what you are seeing is the left saying that parents should not have authority, local schools should not even have authority. The people who really should have authority are people like them. And this means indoctrinating your kids into a bunch of gobbledygook nonsense that runs directly counter to reason. Because the more you can get people to evidence, buy-in to a peculiar ideology, the more you have alienated them from the institutions that really are the repressive institutions of society. When I say that there are people at the top of our political institutions who wish to obliterate all of the intermediate institutions, you can see that in action, in the unwillingness to suggest that there should be anything that parents can keep off limits to their kids. Parental authority should be removed, and the experts should decide. There's a clip that was rocketing around the internet yesterday for good reason. There's a woman named Nadine Johnson at a group called PEN America. Well, Nadine Johnson was testifying, and a representative named Hageman, I believe he's from Wisconsin, was questioning her. And she was questioning her about Nadine Johnson's position that it was some form of censorship to exercise discretion in what exactly was allowed in school libraries, which of course has been a matter of public debate for a very long time, right? You
It is censorship. That's the definition of it, yeah.
don't want everything in school libraries. Kids shouldn't have access to everything in school libraries. But Nadine
They don't.
Johnson is the managing director of PEN America. PEN America is the
These are not salty enough. Some of them have a ton of salt on them, and then others have none.
organization that is dedicated to school librarians. It is a, according to their website, PEN America is the largest of more than 100 centers worldwide that make up the PEN International Network, working to ensure people everywhere have the freedom to create literature, to convey information, to express their views, to access the views, ideas, and literature of others. They're supposedly a free speech group. Well, this leader of PEN America was asked about whether it is censorship to bar small children from seeing Penthouse in the school library, and she couldn't just answer the question. It's amazing.
Do you believe it is
Penthouse?
censorship to prohibit teachers from exposing first graders to Penthouse magazine?
What's Penthouse magazine? None of this looks modern. It ended in 2018. Oh, no, it's not. It's a men's magazine. It combines urban lifestyle articles and softcore pornographic pictures of women. In the 90s, it evolved into hardcore porn of women. And posts bi-monthly as of 2018. So no. But is that even a thing that's happening? It's always the question I have to ask. Is that even a thing that's happening?
Do I believe it is I'm sorry, ma'am. Do I believe it is censorship to...
Do you believe it is censorship to prohibit teachers from exposing first graders to...
Not only is the question worded in a trap sort of a way, yes, technically it is censorship to withhold information from people. That is what censorship is. But censorship isn't always bad.
Penthouse magazine?
I don't know of any instances in which a...
That isn't my question. My question is, do you believe that it is censorship to prohibit teachers from exposing first graders to Penthouse magazine?
I believe that it is important that we have parents, teachers, and educators.
You are not going to
involved.
answer my question then, is that right?
Because your question's irrelevant. That's not a thing that's happening. No one is giving first graders porn mags. That's not a thing. Especially not in schools.
And the answer is she's not going to answer the question. That was
because the answer is fucking stupid.
Republican Representative Harriet Hageman of Wyoming, who was grilling the PEN America spokesperson right there.
Oh, I love that for them.
The left believes that parents should not have the ability to ban Penthouse magazine from a school library because
it's not in the school library, Ben. Yeah, this has never been a thing. Parents compare school library books to Penthouse magazine. Parents claim sexually explicit books in school library are no better than Penthouse magazine. Penthouse magazine is not in these schools. People are comparing books in the schools to Penthouse magazine, most likely falsely. So it's not relevant. It's not a relevant question because it's not a thing. Because obviously we're not putting porn in elementary school libraries. Duh. Fucking morons.
After all, it is the experts who should make that designation, which is how you end up with the idiocy of the irrepressibly stupid Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, so fresh, so faced, freshness and faceness, all in one package of fresh faceness, ranting and raving on the floor of the House about parental oversight of K through 12 schools, and suggesting that the Parental Rights and Education Bill in Florida, for example, is an example of fascism. That's right, it's now an example of fascism to mandate that students not be indoctrinated in wild left-wing garbage, with the parents standing behind that message. Only people like AOC, only childless people like AOC should decide how kids learn.
They are asking the Republican Party to keep culture wars out of
My queen, my icon, my future president.
classrooms. Our children need urgent and aggressive educational solutions. The American Library Association coming out against this.
The problem, I believe, this specific bill, Florida's introduced a lot of bills lately about what's allowed in what schools. But if I'm correct in thinking it is this specific bill, this bill is a very, like most of the ones that people are having problems with, is very broad in the way it is written, in that any parent can bring up any issue with any book at any time for any reason, and then it has to be reviewed regardless, which is stupid and dumb because people can bring up a book that's got gay shit in it, whether it be a story about two male penguins raising a little baby chick, which is a book that got banned, a picture book with like drawings and shit in it about two male penguins who adopted a little penguin baby and raised it. That's one of the books that got banned because it was too gay. The problem with this is anyone can bring up any issue. Someone can come in and say they have an issue with this book existing because it talks about Nazis in a bad way. That's a problem. No one should be talking about Nazis in a positive way because Nazis were bad. Objectively bad, and still are objectively bad. I do believe that is, I mean, most of the ones that have been introduced are very broadly based, but I'm pretty sure the one that they're talking about specifically is a very broadly written bill, which is incredibly fucking dangerous and absolutely is a little fascist.
Republican proposal. When we talk about progressive values, I can say what my progressive value is, and that is freedom over fascism.
Freedom over it's fascism for parents to control the education of their...
It's not fascism. It's stupid for parents to be in control of the education. Because a lot of parents are fucking dumb. So they should decide the curriculum. Especially because the curriculum has changed over the years. For example, my mom never took calculus. She has a college degree. She's college educated. She never took a calculus course. I took calculus in high school. The curriculum has changed over the years. Like, that's just how curriculum works. It's supposed to update. It's supposed to get better. It's supposed to be more accurate. It's supposed to be more effective. That's kind of the point. And the people who should be deciding on that are the education boards and the teachers, ideally, not necessarily parents who may not even know about the things that are being taught because they weren't taught it.
Their children. The bill that she's ranting against is the
If you want to decide what shit your kid sees in school, send them to a private school.
Bill of Rights Act of 2021, which would establish the rights of parents and guardians regarding the elementary or secondary school education of their minor children. It specifically prohibits a state from denying certain rights to a parent or guardian of a minor child regarding the child's education, which includes, among others, the right to fully review and make copies of the curricula, books, and other educational materials used by the child's school, access information on teachers, guest lecturers, and outside presenters, access school records, and visit the child during school hours. That apparently is what she's very upset about. The possibility that a parent might actually...
I'm certain he's not listing everything that's listed in that bill. Because it's Ben Shapiro.
You know what's going on inside the classroom. That is an aspect of fascism. Meanwhile, you have Jamie Raskin, the representative from Maryland, doing the same routine, suggesting that Republicans are attempting to ban 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale, which is amazing since 1984 and The Handmaid's Tale are literally available at every bookstore in America everywhere.
Well, yeah, but no one's banning them from bookstores, Ben. What the fuck are you talking? We're talking about banning shit from schools, Ben. Good job just changing the fucking subject.
2 years ago, more than 1,600 books were banned.
Also, why does this footage look like it was recorded in the 1980s?
And in the United States of America. Here are 3 of the key books that the right-wingers have been going after.
Because it says parental oversight of K through 12 schools. No one's talking about bookstores, Ben.
Here are 3 of the key books that the right-wingers have been going after. The Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood's extraordinary dystopian novel about a right-wing misogynist movement which uses high technology and depraved religious ideology to control not only the minds of their followers, but the private and public lives and the fertility of women. And of course, George Orwell's 1984, because they have no sense of irony. They're always trying to censor this one.
I agree. Handmaid's Tale I read in college.
Who's trying to censor 1984? Who's trying... 1984 is a book about the evils...
Hello? I said hello. Oh, sorry, I've got Ben Shapiro in my ear. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, okay.
I just heard clattering and I went, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
No, I already said hello.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Did you hear? I didn't hear.
Promise I did.
Welcome home.
Thanks.
Did you have a fun journey?
It was fine. There were a bunch of cops. It was very annoying. I was like trying to speed on the way there, and then every time I would get up to like a reasonable speed, there would just be a fucking cop. So, we got something for Bonnie Taylor that ripped in my bag, so hopefully that's not illegal.
Don't know who that is.
And this is for you.
Mm. Mm.
And I got this from my insurance telling me they approve my doctor prescribing me Concerta, which he's been doing for 6 months. Glad they like it. I don't know. I mean, good that they are fine with that.
It's just nice of them to approve that.
Yeah.
Even if they are a bit late. Oh, can you hand me that notepad?
My doctor said he's going to see if my mail order pharmacy will agree to give me a 90-day supply of my Concerta so I don't have to fight for it when I'm leaving. So that'll be nice. So I can actually take it on Sundays now. What? That'd be great. If my pharmacy actually approves that. Which they probably won't because I can't have nice things.
I assume you're not going to yoga, but are you going to shower?
Standing right now is a lot of effort.
You've been sitting, though.
I understand that. Sitting is exhausting. It's like when I'm exhausted after a long day of sitting for 8 hours.
But then you're using your brain. Driving doesn't require a lot of effort, but it is very tiring for some goddamn reason. I don't know what that's about.
It is.
We watched Ben cry about the Oscars for about 2 hours, and now we're watching Ben cry about Congress people wanting to indoctrinate your kids.
Is it because so many Asian people won Oscars?
Yeah, because in Ben's words, everything everywhere all at once, anywhere all the time. His words, not mine. was a very gay movie. It was a very gay movie.
Well, there was a gay in the movie, but that wasn't
There was Joy was
necessarily-
gay and Hot Dog Finger Universe was gay. That's it.
That wasn't like the entire
No.
point, though. The fact that she was gay was just another illustration of the way she and her mother didn't connect. So
Yeah.
it wasn't.
It was also funny because he was talking about how no one's gonna be watching Everything Everywhere All at Once 5 years from now because no one ever does what they needed the Oscar winners for the past 15 years. And I was like, you understand Slumdog Millionaire, No Country for Old Men, Parasite, and King's Speech, and a whole bunch of other ones are in the past 15 years, right, Ben? Like 12 Years a Slave, like...
He said he's upset that like.
Well, he said no one's going to ever watch... In 5 years, no one's going to be rewatching Everything Everywhere All at Once because no one ever does for any of the Oscar winners.
I don't agree with that about Everything Everywhere.
I don't agree with that, about it with a lot of the Oscar winners.
I don't agree with that about Everything Everywhere. I don't agree about Parasite, but I would agree about like The Shape of Water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about The Shape of Water.
Nomadland.
There was some stupid what?
Nomadland, which was 2 years ago, I think.
There was some stupid like black and white movie about old Hollywood.
The Artist.
The Artist. No one's gonna watch that.
I have never seen it once. I hadn't heard of it before.
I saw it and it wasn't good. So no one's gonna watch that again. But like.
I think the most frustrating part, outside of him pronouncing Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan's names wrong for no goddamn reason.
How did he pronounce Michelle Yeoh? That's not that hard.
He pronounced it Michelle Yao.
But it's not.
And
That's not even how it's spelled.
yeah, and he pronounced Ke Huy Quan, Ke Huy Quan, and I was like, his name's Key.
It's key.
It's just key, like a key you use to unlock something.
Okay, I have to say, I have this thing where if you are a commentator, maybe you should look up how to pronounce the things you're about to
It's the bare minimum you could do. It's why I have to believe he's doing it wrong because there aren't even difficult Asian names. There are some very difficult names out there to pronounce that are, of Asian origin. But like they are two of the easiest names. Literally Key and Michelle Yeoh, which isn't even her actual fucking name. That's her made simpler for white people name. And he couldn't even pronounce that one right. But also, it was so goofy listening to him go through all of the winners of the past few years, the Best Picture winners, and just, like, reducing it down, like, reducing Moonlight down to black gay men are good, or Green Book down to white people bad, or, like, stupid shit. Like, it was so goofy, because, like, the storyline he took out of Everything Everywhere was, I should tell my old father about my gay daughter, because that's important. I was like, that's
literally
not even the main story in any capacity. Her being gay is like important for like 5 minutes of the movie.
Like the way that her mother reacts to her gayness is just a symptom of their relationship.
Yeah.
They could take that out and it would still be, they would still have the same terrible relationship, but it's important to have that representation. It's not about her being gay.
It's
It has
not.
never been about her being gay.
It's not. And he was also like, oh, and so she's of course gay in every universe. And I was like, that's not how the multiverse works, Ben.
It's really not.
And also, she's not. There's literally a line about it where Jobu says, so you're still hung up on the fact that I'm gay in this universe? That's one of the lines in the movie. Just tell me you didn't watch the movie, Ben. It's like, you claim to have watched the Oscars that night, but then he's talking about shit that didn't happen. Complaining about shit that wasn't there. And I'm like, you said you watched it. Did you watch it? Because it doesn't sound like you watched it. I watched it. I very much enjoyed it. But he also loves to claim, oh, they just won because of diversity. And I'm like,
They won because it's
like
good.
80% of the Oscars that have won in the past 15 years were white people movies.
Yeah.
Also, I looked at it. The only Best Picture movie, with the exception of Avatar, that wasn't about white people was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Every other movie had a main character that was white. And technically, Jake Sully in Avatar is white.
Every other movie that was nominated this year? Is that
That was
what you
nominated
said?
for Best Picture, yes. Was about white people. All Quiet was about German white people.
Shape of Water was nominated for Best Picture? Is that what you just said?
No,
You said
Avatar:
Jake
The Way of
Sully.
Water.
Yeah, sorry, The Way of Water.
Yeah.
A water thing.
I think the main character's name is Jake Sully, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah. He's technically a white man, but he's in a blue avatar body, so it's about blue people. But even in a roundabout way, it's about white people.
Disability representation, isn't he like...
He's in a
disabled
wheelchair,
in the
yeah.
world?
He's in a wheelchair, yeah.
Disability.
I mean, you could argue that being German is a disability, but Ben probably would argue that because he's Ben, but...
You know, I don't think so.
And then also Coda won last year, which is about deaf people. Parasite won, which is a Korean movie. He's like, his summation of Parasite was rich Korean people should be murdered. I was like, Ben, did you watch the movie?
I don't think he watched it.
You didn't even watch the movie. No one in that movie is a good person. That's the point of the movie. Yes, a couple rich people die, but that's not the main point of the movie. They don't die because they're rich. They die because someone hates them. That's why they die. I was like, Ben, just say you didn't watch it. It's okay. You're allowed to not watch it. I didn't watch a lot of the Oscar movies over these past... I didn't watch Coda. I didn't watch Nomadland. I have not watched Shape of Water. I have no plans to watch Shape of Water. I have no interest in watching Shape of Water. It's a waste of my fucking time. He tried to complain about how long Everything Everywhere All at Once is. Of the 10 movies, it is the 4th shortest one. Because Avatar is 3 hours and 12 minutes long.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Listen, I sat through my fair share of, like, Sound of Music's, Gone with the Winds.
Elvis is 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
I can't accept watching movies that long anymore.
Yeah. Everything Everywhere is under 2.5. That makes it one of the shortest movies out there because movies are usually 2.5 hours long these days. Banshees was under 2. Women Talking was under 2. Women Talking was the shortest at 1 hour 44. Banshees was the second at 1 hour 54.
Top Gun was nominated?
Oh, yeah. It was nominated for a bunch of shit.
How long was All Quiet?
All Quiet was 2.5. Yeah, 223. And then Tar was also 240. So I was like, he said it took him, that someone wrote that it took him 4 sittings to get through Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I was like, well, then you just have a really shitty attention span. And that's coming from a person with a really shitty attention span. They even charged extra to watch Avatar in my cinema due to its length. Holy shit.
Crazy.
Yeah. Most of them are 2.5 or more. 4 of them are shorter than that. 2 of them are under 2 hours. And I think one of them is only shorter than Everything by like a few minutes. Yeah, Avatar is literally 3 hours and 12 minutes long. Jesus Christ. Top Gun was he said Top Gun was a shutout, and I was like, Top Gun won Best Sound. What are you talking about? The shutout was Elvis. Elvis didn't win a goddamn thing all night.
Did it not?
No! And it had a bunch of nominations, too.
Wow.
Yeah, it had like 8 nominations. It didn't win a single thing.
Wow. That's surprising. Those biopics always win a lot of awards.
And then Top Gun won one Best Sound and was nominated for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 others. So it was nominated for 6. So the shutout was very obviously Elvis, which didn't win shit and was nominated for 8 Oscars.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes rating for Elvis? 7.3 isn't great. It's not bad, but it's not great.
77.
77. It's not bad, but not great.
Yeah, it's not bad considering it's a biopic.
Yeah. I still think it's hilarious how that one, the movie about like mobsters with Lady Gaga in it, that they made.
Yeah.
Very clear Oscar bait.
What's it called?
I still
Lady
think it's funny
Gaga
that got
movie.
like how many nominations? Not many. If
House
any.
of Gucci.
House of Gucci. Yeah, that got like basically no nominations, if it got any at all.
It didn't get any, no.
It was very clearly Oscar bait.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't good.
Oh, it was nominated for 1 Oscar. For makeup.
Yep.
Which went to The Whale?
No, that's 2022. Whale this year.
Oh, this was,
Whale
sorry,
this
I
year,
forgot.
yes,
I thought House of
Whale
Gucci was more recent, sorry.
I do think the Whale won.
Yeah. But you wanted the best thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the best thing about the Ben being mad about the Oscars video is that his entire audience disagreed with him.
Really?
It didn't have an abnormally large amount of views on it, but everyone in the comments was like, you're wrong about Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ben. I don't know what to tell you. You're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
His audience was just trashing him, and I was like, get him! Yeah, it was great. Would you say that censoring books by the hundreds is fascism?
Fascism?
Mm-hmm. I'd put it on the slippery slope to fascism.
It depends on the mechanism of censorship.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if it's part of, like, a vote by, like, the school board, the school system, like, if parents and people who are part of the school have a say, then no. But if it's, like, banned by the principal with no, like, ability to give feedback,
or banned by the government,
that's a slippery slope. If it's banned by the government, if it's banned by a higher power that you don't have any say.
Oh, did you know there was a mass shooting in Green Hills?
In Green Hills, really?
Yep, where we were last night.
At the theater?
At the elementary school.
Oh, at the elementary school.
Yeah.
It's an elementary.
3 kids died and 3 teachers died.
Jesus.
Yeah, it just happened today. While you were gone. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then the shooter died. It was a woman.
A woman?
Yeah, that was the part that I was like,
What?
whoa.
A woman carrying out a mass
Did you see that? Oh, it's just an elementary school. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was a woman shooter was the part that we were like, whoa.
No, it's just, I was like, my brain said, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah, it was a Christian school. It was a private Christian school. I said maybe they'll actually do something about it now.
So were her motivations, like, religious?
I don't know if we know yet.
Okay. If it was a private Christian school, it very much could have been a personal disagreement. But definitely could have been a religious disagreement. Jesus, we're trending on Twitter.
Yep. Well, this is my trending page.
Okay.
I don't know if we're trending overall, because there's mass shootings every single day of the week.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think we have a reason for it.
So it's going to be hard to determine.
Yeah, if she didn't have, like, a manifesto, which is very abnormal.
Wait, Candace Owens lives in Green Hills? Is that the Candace Owens?
It is.
God, she lives here?
She lives here?
I didn't know she lived here.
She lives here?
Then why does it say New York in her profile?
Maybe she's from Green Hills?
What?
Max, we have to get out of here.
I didn't know she lived here.
You are a disgrace.
Oh, you should put that on the screen.
Yeah. I didn't know she was here.
I did not know.
Yeah, there's 130 mass shootings for the year so far.
Love it.
Rookie numbers.
Love it. Love it.
Rookie numbers.
That's U.S. only, right? Surely.
Yeah, just here.
Okay. I was like, absolutely, it would be higher if it included other places. Number 3, Tennessee.
Yeah, why does it say New York if you're from Green Hills?
Who's to say?
Also, I love putting New York Times bestselling author in your bio as if not every single book has a New York Times bestselling on it.
You can just buy that.
Yeah, I know. Every book I unbox at work is a bestselling, New York bestselling.
She has enough money to buy a New York Times bestseller, but she...
It doesn't mean shit.
...has enough of an audience that she could probably easily get it without having to buy it, but you can buy it.
Yeah, Jimmy said that he knew about it because it was in his newsfeed in the UK.
Jesus.
Because apparently the UK gives a fuck about how many of us we kill all the time, every day.
It is children, and they're surprised by that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't think anyone's surprised by us anymore, so...
Oh, there's an alleged manifesto?
What? Democrats aren't shooting people. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Was it a Democrat?
I don't know.
Okay, let's see if local news... Obviously local news is reported on it, but let's see what they're saying. 2 assault weapons and a handgun. So this is not like a personal dispute with someone.
No, she was there to cause havoc.
Yeah.
It'd be hilarious if the manifesto was fix gun crime, so you won't have any more shootings like this.
News says the police said they discovered a manifesto.
Oh, okay. So that means
if
there's a
the
manifesto.
police said it, then it's a manifesto.
Yeah, police don't just release that we have got a manifesto if they don't have one. Usually, you can't trust police reports, but if they're using the word manifesto, it's legit. But they haven't released what's in it yet.
I'm just reading from CBS, so. And yeah, apparently the shooter used to go to that school, and where they found the manifesto, they also found multiple hand-drawn maps of the interior of the school.
Yeah, some people were saying in that thread, like, who's giving them maps? And I'm like, she went to the school. She went there. She knows the layout. What do you mean? They probably titled it Manifesto. Yeah, probably. The people who go do mass shootings aren't usually the smartest people, so. I wore my A24 shirt to watch Ben yell about the movies.
This is just so uncharacteristic for a woman.
Yep.
This is not why women kill.
Nope. Maybe we're evolving as a species. Maybe women will become just as violent. Huh?
What?
Especially not children.
Yeah.
But Christianity pushed her over the edge. I mean, that's fair. It's understandable. Yeah, it's literally so
the
recent.
shooter's transgender.
Oh, well, that would explain it. She's actually a man.
That's so weird. That's just.
I'm surprised that's not been plastered everywhere.
I see. That's what one of the memes posted underneath that Candace Owens.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, it was like a something about, I think it's a trans rights or else, and it had a bunch of guns on it, and the guns had the trans flag on them. That post, so that makes sense now.
Well, I'm surprised that that wasn't like Candace Owens' first tweet about it, like, trans woman shoots children at school, as if anyone would defend the trans woman shooting the children at the school. Like, no, that's not how this works. Like, we're not going to defend this person, this horrible person who did this horrible thing. I'm surprised it wasn't like the first tweet that popped up when you look at it, you know? Oh, we're trending. We're number 1 on trending.
Yay.
Nashville's number 1 on trending.
Trending with trans Audrey Hale.
Yep. Do Something is trending at number 10. Columbine trending at number 9. And then a bunch of random shit. Parkland is trending at 24. Why are they all single words? What the fuck? AR-15 trending at number 3.
Yep.
We're a big deal.
No prior criminal history, and 2 of the 3 guns were legally obtained.
Yep.
So.
An icon and a legend.
Of course, the only one with transgender in the. Okay, guess which major news outlet?
Fox News.
Yes.
Family
there you
vacation.
go.
Apparently, Fox News was live on the scene, and a mother stepped up and started speaking and like interrupted Fox News, and they were trying to like recover from it because she was like about like gun control and stuff.
Aren't you guys tired of covering this?
Aren't you guys tired of covering this? Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all these mass shootings? I'm from Ohio. Oh, they shut the sound off.
Family vacation.
Family vacation with my son, visiting my sister-in-law. I have been lobbying DC since we survived a mass shooting in July. I've met with over 130 lawmakers. How is this still happening? How are children still dying? Why are we facing them? Gun violence is the #1 killer of children and teens. Overtaking cars. Assault weapons are contributing to border crisis and fentanyl. We are harming cartels. We are arming cartels, sorry. Oh, I didn't realize there were captions. I could have just turned that on. Oh well.
Until our lawmakers step up and pass gun safety legislation. I'm pretty sure this was an unsecured weapon. That this
The pan away.
We can't even pass gun safety
The pan.
The captions are out of sync, but yeah.
storage laws in this country to
It is
protect
live.
kids from getting a hold of weapons that they shoot each other with.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this was
an unsecured weapon that this teenager got a hold of them. We can't even pass gun safety laws, safe storage laws, to protect kids from getting a hold of weapons that they shoot each other with. They didn't have captions for that part. I love that I'm sitting here trying to translate it out loud and then realized there were captions afterwards, yeah. It was really quiet too, so they couldn't hear the video as well. Anyways, I couldn't get it up quite high enough. Highland Park, Illinois' parade mass shooting survivor goes on vacation to Nashville and ends up near another mass shooting. Yep, that's the woman who was just talking.
Wasn't wasn't one of the Parkland shooting survivors at that school in Wisconsin, was it?
The Michigan. There were several there. There were several that were in the Parkland shooting that had gone to Michigan
There's
State.
got to be some kind of statistic about whether you're more likely to survive 2 shootings.
Because we're at that point now.
If you've survived
That's
one
the
shooting.
problem. We're at that fucking point now.
Yeah.
Which is so fucked up. That these kids survive an elementary school shooting just to turn around and nearly die in a fucking college shooting a few years later. Pull up the stats page from the beginning of stream. Here we go. Jimmy sent this to me at the beginning of stream.
Gun violence. Okay.
As of today. Yep.
It's not depressing at all.
Where is it?
Wait, go back to that.
Yeah, I clicked on mass shootings earlier and I saw, I was like, today, Nashville. When the fuck did this happen? And then I went and Googled it, and CNN had posted about it 7 minutes ago.
Injured hasn't been updated. People were injured, but it
Yeah.
hasn't been updated.
7 killed because 6 victims and the shooter.
Yes.
Yep. This is America. Huh? What? That doesn't even make any sense. This is a trans woman.
What?
It was a trans woman.
Hormones like testosterone.
Trans women don't take
medications,
testosterone.
mental
I take
illness?
testosterone.
I
mean, being trans is a mental
Marjorie
illness,
Taylor
right?
Greene doesn't
So-
know things.
No, she doesn't.
I think we need to stop thinking that she knows anything.
It's also not correct. Trans women don't take testosterone. They literally take a testosterone suppressant and estrogen. So that makes no sense.
I don't know. She's just stupid.
Oh, you mean Marjorie? Marjorie looks like the typical Karen? It's because she is. It's because she is the typical Karen.
She is. Well, she's more powerful.
She's our Karen in chief. And she passes pretty good. Wait, what? Wait, no, it says Audrey Hale, a biological female that identifies as he, him.
Oh, then why is everyone saying transgender woman?
Huh?
Why is everyone saying transgender woman?
I don't know.
I'm confused.
No, no one is saying that, but I would like to know what the gender is so I can use the correct pronouns when speaking about the shitty motherfucker that did the shooting. Also, I love that the one time a trans person does a murder, they're like, oh, it's because they're trans. We don't blame cis people for shooting shit because they're cis. Now that it's a trans person, it's like, oh, it's because they're trans and mentally ill instead of it just being mental illness. Yes, we don't misgender people, even if they're shitty people.
If their pronouns were on their LinkedIn page, at least one news outlet would be using the right ones, and none of them are using those pronouns. Not a single one.
Radical left again, as if the radical left are the ones doing all the shootings? Yeah, sure, okay.
Wait, wait, hang on a second. The Independent buried the... Wait, but they just used she. What? Okay, the Independent goes she, and then, like, 10 paragraphs into the article says that Hale reportedly identified as transgender and used the pronouns he, him.
So why are we calling this a female shoot? Had he not started transitioning yet?
They literally said he, him, and then they proceeded to use she pronouns. I'm so confused.
This does look more like a trans dude than a trans woman, but...
I'm so deeply confused.
I'm so lost.
Why would you say that the...
I love them trying to blame Biden and the Democrats for sending money to Ukraine as a part of the reason why there's mass shootings here. Like, how dare they send money to Ukraine, but they won't support legislation to defend our own innocent American school children with good guys with guns. What the fuck are you talking about? Those two things are not related to each other. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Trending. AFAB is trending. I think for separate reasons. I don't understand. That would explain why they're saying testosterone, though, if this was a trans dude. But why does it keep saying trans woman everywhere? No, taking testosterone does not cause additional mental illness problems, with the exception of maybe anger issues, because testosterone can make people more angry.
Has the news not caught up with the LinkedIn pronouns?
Yeah. This person's right. The media is reporting it incorrectly then because they're describing her as a trans woman. She would be a trans man if she was taking testosterone. Because trans women don't take testosterone, because that'd be fucking pointless. Also, even if this was a trans dude who was in the process of menopause and testosterone puberty, not all of us go shoot schools up. That's not how this works. Oh my god, I didn't want to click. I want to click show more.
I think the news is confused.
Yeah, it's making me confused.
Regardless, this person's name wasn't different on their LinkedIn profile, so Audrey is safe. Audrey, Hale.
I love the whole,
it's fine.
let's blame the inanimate object instead of the evil person. I guess we should blame airplanes for 9/11 instead of Islamic terrorists. They're not wrong, because without the planes, the terrorists could not have knocked down the building. You know what I mean?
One of the teachers who died was a substitute.
Yep.
God.
The risks you take. But, like, yes, the problem is the gun. Without the gun, this person couldn't have gone in and killed as many people and injured as many people as they did. That's the fucking point. It's a lot harder to go shoot 20 people when all you have is a pistol or a knife. But when you've got an assault rifle that can fire off 20 rounds a second, it makes it a lot easier. That's the fucking argument. People are dumb. I can't tell. Well, maybe now that some Christian children have been murdered, maybe they'll do something. I doubt it, but you never know. See, even people that I know aren't transphobic are saying female teen.
This is strange. Okay, Daily Mail is saying that the person was born female and the LinkedIn profile uses he, him pronouns, which is indicating that Hale may have been living as a man. So I think that Hale is a transgender man.
So it's still men. It's still a man doing the shootings. So.
A person. The news will figure it out.
Oh, Jimmy said, "Beat you, Max." A neighbor, Sandy Durham, told the Daily Beast, I do know Audrey. I've known her since she was a baby. I just got out of the shower when all of this started happening. I didn't really know anything more than something going on next door. Just tragic for everybody. The sweet children that were hurt, killed, adults, all of it.
No, I did read that, but I didn't know if the neighbor was like a G or not.
Yeah. You can't trust neighbors.
Yeah. But it just, I don't know. I think the fact that the name is one that the name is a feminine name, so I think that's what's throwing the two of us off.
Yeah.
Regardless, that's less important than what they did, which is disgusting. And I want to read the manifesto. Obviously, they're not going to publish the whole thing, but I want to understand.
I mean, yeah. It'd be nice to know what's being talked about, but here we are.
I mean, things like that don't really... Like, shootings don't ever really make sense, so...
No.
because trans men
Hassan's talking about it right now.
Transphobes.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
exactly.
I can't show you. I'll
Now,
get in
of
trouble.
course-
I can't show you him because I'll get in trouble.
Do you get in trouble for watching other people's streams?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the audio won't do anything.
Yes,
So.
from what I understand, the name of the perpetrator, the name of the shooter has been released.
Seriously,
And
it'd be cool if,
immediately,
like,
people started
Tennessee
digging
was
in.
in the news
The
for,
shooter
like,
was
something good
Audrey
ever.
Hale, but I think this is a
Hold
dead
on.
name. I don't know what
He
his
said he
like.
thinks Audrey Hill is a dead name.
I don't know what his actual what is like.
Because if he hadn't legally changed his name, they wouldn't be reporting with his preferred
Aiden
name.
Hale. Okay.
But
So
some
all
outlets
of these
would.
articles right now, given
And
the fact
the
that this
LinkedIn
is
page would have
given the
the
fact that this is a developing news story, all of these
who doesn't
articles
at
are
least
going
put it
to
as a
have
nickname on their
incorrect
LinkedIn page?
information and a lot of dead naming and misgendering going on. Okay? I think you're misunderstanding the not a man thing. They're saying that they as a trans man are not a man and they actually are a woman, not accidentally saying anything. No. The thing is, no, I don't agree with that. Fox News does a metric ton of anti-trans propaganda. We cover it regularly. A lot of these news outlets actually have
I don't know. Saying it's a dead
style
name
guide
implies
that
there's
they
an
hold
alive
on
one, and
to
no
that
one's
they
found the
literally
presence of one.
will
so.
go by, and even Fox News' style guide will not deliberately misgender someone. Remember, we talked about this a long time ago. I do think that this is actually.
So
I do think
weird.
that this is probably an unintentional misgendering, just like NBC News is unintentionally misgendering.
Yeah, because
this
he's saying
person.
style guides, even Fox News' style guides prevent you
Now,
from misgendering
Fox
people.
News is
So-
news coverage style guide is very different than Tucker. Obviously, Tucker Carlson deliberately misgenders people all the time.
Because it's unhelpful. If you're
Does that make
misgendering
sense? Do you
someone.
understand what's going on?
That's not reporting the news.
Apparently, we're in the Philip DeFranco for the day.
Wow.
Philip DeFranco
I mean, okay,
to
it said it happened
misgender
several hours
Yeah,
shooter.
because someone said Phil would have misgendered them as well.
For
Because
Philip DeFranco to misgender shooter,
Which would mean the
do it
only
on
information
purpose.
he would
Does
have.
That makes sense. Like a lot of outlets are not intentionally misgendering the shooter. Not that this part of the process
Ooh,
matters.
Matt
all
Walsh
that
made a
much.
video about AOC's first
Obviously,
TikTok.
I'm not going to misgender someone once I know that they're trans, but
We'll save that for later.
Because I'm not interested in shitting on trans people. This doesn't have anything to do with trans
Hale
people
did
in
not
general. This
have
is one
any
specific
other social media
trans
because
man.
People would have found that by now.
Yeah. Especially Hassan's
So,
chat.
Yeah, this person killed
that would
kids.
also
Of 38,000
This is argument.
people.
This is like
Yeah, I'm just gonna
irrelevant
assume
to the
that Hale
subject
didn't
matter.
have a Twitter.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
clarify
they've said
it
Aiden as well
so
in
that everybody
Hassan's chat.
understands
Oh, somebody's found Aiden?
Yeah. I don't know where from, though. Mentioned if Hale was transgender or had transitioned from female to male or just preferred he and pronouns. LinkedIn also included Hale has used the name Aiden Hale, including links to a now deleted Instagram page under the name creative.aiden and a Facebook page with the name Aiden Creates, along with a still active Redbubble site with the same name. Hale uses the name Audrey Hale on a personal website. Okay.
Okay, so they use both?
It might be one of those they're not fully out yet situations.
Okay.
Like me when I was out at school but not at home. So I was dead name at work and stuff, but Nico at school maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the website would be harder to update, especially like LinkedIn because they want your like legal name and shit.
Yeah, and it said that Hale was 28. So, well, LinkedIn doesn't matter at all. You don't need to use your legal name.
Oh, you don't? I thought you
No.
did.
You have options to put like former first names, former last
Oh,
names,
okay.
and all that stuff. So I transitioned in Max and transitioned out my
Old name, yeah.
by doing that. But yeah, I just have Max Chambers on my LinkedIn profile. Legal name isn't relevant. But since they were 28 and they did design, if they were better known as their other name, they might have just kept it that way on LinkedIn. That's
Yeah.
kind of the complicated thing about changing first and last names is that, like, if you do freelance work, you really want to kind of keep your brand consistent as much as possible and make sure there's enough time to transition things so that way people know who you are.
I'm changing my name.
Like, I mean, that's part of the reason I didn't just straight change dead name to Max on my LinkedIn, because I was doing a bunch of freelance stuff. So I had contacted a bunch of people as the old name, and I wanted to make sure they could find me for a certain amount of time until I...
Yeah, I know what happens when the name changes. The YouTube channel dies. That's what happens. So, you know.
The YouTube channel dies?
Yes. That's when my YouTube channel stopped getting as many views, was after I did the rebrand and changed my name and everything like that. So that on top of the fact that a lot less interesting things were coming out. And then the second I stopped posting reactions is when Last of Us comes out and all this other shit that I really like, of course. And that are really popular. Well, I don't feel like finishing this bin video, so we're going to save that for later. And call it here on the happy note of child murder. So, yeah. So I'll see y'all tomorrow with same stuff, more God of War and hanging out. Have a good night. Thank you for hanging with us, Jimmy. I think it was just you. I think Rookie popped in for like 2 minutes and didn't say anything and then left. So he probably didn't feel like watching Ben Shapiro. There was some other dude who was here for a few seconds. Oh, there's Rookie, speaking of.
Rookie. Good night, Rookie.
Rookie didn't say hi to you. Usually Rookie says hello to you.
That's true. I've been mumbling on the floor.
Yeah.
How dare.
Oh, it was so funny. I meant to mention this. In the Oscars video where Ben was talking about the Oscars, he took a second to stop and complain about Dylan Mulvaney for some fucking reason.
What does she have to do with the Oscars?
I don't know. Remember the interview with Drew Barrymore where she like got down on her knees with Dylan? And everyone was like, how dare she like kneel to a man and all this stuff.
What? I don't know any of
She was on the Drew Barrymore show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And people were like, how dare she kneel in front of a man? I was like, A, she kneels in front of a bunch of her guests. She is a floor girl. Second of all, Dylan is not a man. Third of all, who cares?
Why?
But that's what he stopped to complain about Dylan Mulvaney in the middle of his Oscar rant, which I just thought was the funniest thing because Dylan Mulvaney lives rent-free in his head.
That is kind of fun. That's kind of fun.
She lives rent-free in all of their heads. It's kind of iconic.
She does.
Just hearing y'all talk is all I can do. I don't know much about politics or pop culture. That's fair.
Totally fine.
Especially our shitty-ass politics over here.
Yeah. It's
a fucking mess.
American politics
and right now Tennessee is trying to pass a law that makes it easier to get guns.
Well, hopefully this... Actually, no, it won't make a difference at all. But it would be nice if it did.
Yeah. I love that as I'm about to end, we suddenly are up to 3 viewers when we've been at 1 all day.
Usually it...
Back into the same gun politics for a few weeks, then it dies off. Yep.
Yeah. Basically we switch over to now is a moment for prayer and healing and power to Jesus, and we trust in Jesus for keeping us safe, even though someone shot people at a religious
and murdered
school.
children, yeah.
And like, you know, so we do the whole like prayer and weeping and sadness because praying brings the dead children back, and then we vote to allow more people to get guns.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Absolutely, 100%. Guns are the most important thing we could ever want ever. Of course. Yeah. Didn't you know that? Guns are the most important thing. Yeah. Because we can defend ourselves from the government totally 100% if we have guns, right? It's not like the government has tanks and nuclear weapons. Yeah. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.